flex. TB being a staple safe pick has been really good into this recent patch. Not the greatest in my opinion, but it's really the rev that kind of is really shocking me here.
I mean, it's shocking, but at the same time, like, Revenant, as long as he gets close to the TB, is a counter pick. But of course, if he is never able to interact with the TB, then the longer range is gonna make that pretty redundant. But yeah, TB picked up, makes sense. Phoenix loves that character. We also did see it yesterday in the game against Fully Smiling. We see the next set of support bands coming in, the Miriam being taken away. I think on the other side, it's more gonna be towards those bruiser characters, probably pinch the pool of M and Venom a bit more. We know Venom loves those assassin type characters. I think Mao could even be banned away instead. The Ceres just making sure to sort of limit the playmaking out of them.
I like this Ceres ban, right? You speak about trying to mitigate for the jungle role, mitigate for the offlane role. That's going to be a pick, right? He's able to flex into a lot of different things. I do respect the Muriel ban because I know Samwise does like the Muriel. So Vent kind of did a little bit of their homework on that one.
Yeah, for sure. Yurei also being banned away. Sabra loves the character, so 2 target bans, the Wukong and the Yurei probably his 2 strongest characters, so making sure that the offlane matchup is not going to be too bad, and it also leaves them open for something like a Feng Mao that you know that Emma loves to pick up when he can. Even in this meta, he's still a goat on that character, so Hope is going to go for the next ban. The Boris banned away, making sure that this jungle pool is getting pinched more and more.
Definitely pinching it away. I mean, I like this Boris out of the way. Boris, one of those aggressive junglers, has a really good early game. If he's able to pick anything up, yeah, right? Just, it's not fun to go against this Boris. So definitely going against that pool, but that leaves open the Grux here. And I love this for Veni Vents because they can double flex this, right? It still doesn't show their hand to really finalize their draft, and pushes Hope, since they have to make their last 2 picks here, to really kind of give away their strategy at this last implication.
Yeah, and it's all gonna be on where this offlaner is gonna go. Looks like it's gonna be the Aurora. Could still be in the support role. We know that Samwise loves these sort of supports. Relatively tanky, very elusive, very fast at rotating, good at controlling space. So I would actually, the more I think about it, I'm thinking this Aurora is gonna go in the support role. That leaves them 1 more pick open. We know that in the offlane, there's not a lot more picks open. And thinking about it, yeah, counters kind of makes sense, but against the Grux, potentially, I'm not sure if I love this matchup.
I mean, it's kind of one of those things where, yeah, it's going to be a little bit tough. The Grux kind of just does Grux things, and if you think about the Revenant as well, this completely throws everything out the window that I was just about to say. Kalari, the feast or famine type of jungler. I mean, you're not going to put this in the offlane. I'm not saying M cannot play it, but it's going to be fitting for M to have
Don't worry.
You are? Okay. But I mean, I kind of like this, right? I'm actually comfortable with this. I'm feeling like this is kind of specialized to how Veni Ven is able to play. I think if they're going to be able to pilot this, it's going to come down to what this Kalari can do. If this Kalari gets behind at any sliver amount of this game, Hope is going to have the advantage.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, F6, to me, it speaks to the confidence of Veni Ven. Okay, that's probably the nicest way you can say it, because this Kalari game looks absolutely atrocious. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, right? Like, look at what you're playing into, like the Neon, the Rampage, the Aurora, the TB that can space him pretty well, right? And of course the counters as well. That is not an easy Kalari game, but if there's one Kalari that can pull it off, it is of course Venom himself, the guy that tries to dethrone Import as the king of the European jungle for what feels like 5 years already. Maybe this PCC, he is gonna be able to do it. But yeah, this is one of these games where he can prove himself for sure.
You got to prove yourself. We're here and we're all watching. But the people that are going to help us and drive the narration throughout this match is going to be Lazy Bard and Falcon. Fellas, take this one away.
Oh, I like that. He put so much sauce on the Bard. I really enjoyed listening to it. Falcon, we got 2 teams here sitting at 2-0. Which means only one thing. One of these 2 teams will be the first squad to advance through into the pinnacle stage. But first, they've got to go through their opponents. And, you know, we've discussed a little bit and a lot of bit about Veni Vens. We've seen so much of them. Their opponents here, Hope, they're a little untested. These players have been around the scene for a while, but not in this configuration.
No, the team is very much untested, but the players are very much a known quantity. So the big question for me is, how is that communication? How is that teamwork against a known quantity like Venivens who... No, they pushed Knights ADU to the limit. They have reached that pinnacle and just been one step short. So we already know that in terms of favorites, Venivens are probably right up there. So hope they got a mountain to climb in this series, but if they can prove that they can climb up that mountain, then they may be favorites to win with Knights ADU.
And that's exactly what they need to do, right? Going back to what Tang was saying earlier, Ven has been trying to challenge Import in this jungle for so long. And, you know, we haven't really seen all that much of Varant. And something that you can never quite dismiss here, Falcon, is new teams with powerful players coming together just before a tournament. It's a tale as old as time. And we cannot be sitting here discounting the Cinderella effect, the honeymoon period, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, just think of a couple PCCs ago, Leftovers, just a new team came out, no one expected them to win, and they took it all. So, you know, we've seen it happen in the past, it can 100% happen in again. But enough about that, let's talk about the game. Maya, they've gone Yggdrasil on Renner, which is a rather unique Eternal to take on this Renner. I'm assuming he just means he wants to survive in these team fights in this lane, deal with the poke, and if that means his damage is reduced, so be it. He has plenty of other damage threats on his team.
And you know, the more I think about it, it almost lends itself to Renner's playstyle. You want to get up close and personal with that ultimate in the center of the fight anyway, right? So what's wrong with a little extra survivability? That being said, Hope across the map is being pressured out. Samwise, in fact, has to use his blink behind the tower. Venivens layering on the pressure here from minute one.
This double range versus one range was melee. This is always going to happen. Samwise, he missed the boulder, missed the stun, and Mako has plenty of poke along with that Revenant. So already the blink gone away from the Rampage. That means he is a very precarious position. Really needs that level 3 to get that jump online. Might have already taken it in that level 2. But either way, this lane for Venivens is already in a pretty good position. However, saying that, we can see that Varant is on that side of the map.
We'll see if they can translate maybe into a gank. Kalari's looking over towards the right-hand side, but the jungle is still doing that early rotation, so it'd be interesting to see if they want to try and gank, although Aurora definitely is looking more like they are willing. With how Venivens are pushed up right now, it's certainly tempting, but they'll turn around once Conte dips into the jungle.
Yeah, we can see that Venivens is actually having the way pushed back into them, so they can just let that push away. They shouldn't lose any minions from that. And Ven, okay, looking in the mid lane, Richter has some no mana, doesn't go for the tower dive, doesn't jump onto a minion though. Richter will get the death mark, is going to have to reset here. Hasn't got any mana left, has got about half HP, isn't in really a position to fight. And Maya, they're pretty helpful right now. We've got River Bus coming up, have already spawned, going to take the green side one, get that mana regen back, and also get that extra shield.
I think, unfortunately for Richter, Varant took the left side river buff from what I could see here anyway. So already a small differential starting to build up in that mid lane. It's small at the moment, but if left unchecked, it could really start to ramp up. There is something to be said here, Falcon, for that survivability that Maya is gaining from their Eternal. Just being able to stay in lane longer.
Yeah, we've got to remember that Renner's probably going to go with that Orb of Growth as well, so that's quite a lot of HP added onto this Renner. If you add Tainted Scepter as well, then you actually get into a pretty high HP pool on this mid lane mage. And I mean, we've got to remember there's a lot of dive on the side of Hope. You got Samwise on the Rampage, you got Neon who can get in there. A War Countess wants to dive the back line as well. So I don't actually mind it later this game goes on. I do want to talk about the offlane a little bit. We haven't really seen anything going on over there, but it is as we expected. M kind of controlling that lane as they just try to get as much farm as they can. Once they do get that first item online, get a bit more way clear, then it is going to be easier for this Countess to survive. But what I really want to do is push up, get as much farm as you can, and look for those mini primes.
Bit of a return of pressure on the left-hand side. Ven is stalking in the jungle, but so is Varant. They're having a look and seeing if they can make it in. Hold on, Conte stepped really far forward. He's going to take a stun. Samwise might not even need anyone. One jump should do it. Conte, he's going to make it out, but that seemed like a really strange moment from the support from Benny Vance.
I am assuming that Conte was going to reset soon anyway, but Septic is going to get caught by Rod and Samwise. Samwise no mana though, no boulder, and the Hawfusser does miss Rod, also getting void blocked by his support. It does allow Septic to walk away scot-free. Hasn't got Blink either though at the moment. I think that was used earlier on in this lane. It's going to have to reset, and this wave is actually in a vague position for the side of Hope. Phoenix can just keep that there, make sure that Septic does lose at least a wave of minions, maybe even more.
First Fangtooth has dropped onto the map here, so watch for these teams to start putting pressure over towards that left-hand side shortly. For now, though, the junglers are deciding the right side is more important. These offlaners being looked at, potentially, at a distance. They were just clearing some jungle camps for now. But it's an interesting movement over here. M comes on in. Zera takes a little bit of damage, but not too endangered just yet.
Yeah, Zeru shouldn't be in much danger with that shadow slip. Is just looking to farm up as much as we can, as we have discussed. M is controlling this lane, but even with that, taking the sign buff is going to be very helpful. We also see that Ven has reset. Gone back over to that right side, so junglers are now on the opposite side of once again. But I feel like this favors Benny Vance because, again, the Fangtooth has spawned. We haven't got mini prime up for another 30-40 seconds, and not much else is really happening on the map. So if Ven can get aggression in this duo side, get the reset or even a kill, then this first Fangtooth should go to the side of Benny Vance.
The slower rotation over to the left-hand side from Varant. Ven is and has been here for a little while. And look at the Poke game here. Actually, a level lead on Phoenix on the Hope side of the carry lane at the very least, which could serve him well. Because look at this rotation now. Aurora's making their way through while Ven has moved over to mid lane.
Yeah, looking towards the Neon once again. Has got Blink. Richter should be in a pretty safe position. Is just going to take those reverse. Richter might jump down, has got a ward, isn't using the Doc's augment, so is able to put those down. Instead, just going to keep on farming up. Percentage that Sunshine is a miss, and isn't going to go for the real buff, so that's just a good gameplay by the side of Richter, even though he is a level down at the moment.
Some aggression on the left-hand side. Ben is looking to get aggressive. The dash forward, up into the sky he goes, and Samwise is falling low, goes up into the big boy form, and that should cancel off the aggression, but all importantly, a TKO Falcon, which opens up the Fangtooth potentially for Benny Vance.
What is in the area, has got ult, has got blink, it can go for the steal, but it is not worth leaving that first blood up for a Fangtooth. So saying that he is nearby could go for it potentially, but this is probably safer to just let go. They are going to go for it, doesn't get it, does go for the attempt, does survive with his life, so nothing really lost on the side of Hope. However, if any events, they do get that first Fangtooth.
First Fangtooth, still no first blood on the table. A stark contrast from the games that we got to see yesterday, Falcon, where EU looked like NA. The level of aggression coming through from all of the teams that we saw yesterday was high this time around. I mean, I'll actually say this, Falcon. This isn't no first blood through lack of trying. There's certainly been some contests in every lane of the map so far.
Yeah, there's definitely been aggression, but no one's going for that full dive in, and no one's gone for the tower dives. So they could go a little bit further, Blazy. You know, it could be a bit suicidal, but that would be added extra to the fun. Now we have a quick look at the map state. The Seedling has respawned, is on the right side of the map. Mini-5 is also up. So again, we have to look towards these offlaners. M controlling the wave once again, has got the push up, but Zeru has survived the lane, so it's not too bad for the side of the Countess. And with Veront over here as well as Ven, I think we're going to get some action.
Yeah, potentially Mini Prime being looked at. Varant, I think he's hidden. I don't know that they know that he's here. The wall goes up. Grux pulls Richter in. It's a 2v2 situation. But look at the level of damage. The bomb comes down from the top. M has to try and run away, but it's going to be Zera with the first blood. Ven falls down. Maya still around, trying to make some space for the rest of his team. It might be all she wrote. M has followed Samwise up, but no one's got the damage to follow it through. And Hope walk away with first blood.
That quieticism was so good for the side of one hit. Both M and Venom at the same time was a great amount of damage. Mayo trying to dive in at the end, but didn't have enough damage as a early game winner. And this should be Mini Prime given over to the side of Hope. The question is, who is it going to be given over to? As Septic gets the 2v1 over Phoenix first of all.
Yeah, left-hand side, quick answer back to that first blood. Benny Vance, they are not taking it laying down. They will lose the mini prime for it, but hey, if there's a place that you want to get a kill to make up for your jungler falling down, I'll take it over in the carry lane. Yes, please, sir. Still a lot more pressure for them to put on here. Samwise is defending under the tower. So it doesn't look like Venivens are going to get much more out of this.
Certainly might get one plate. Septic is pushing up. There is a lot of minions. The first plate does fall, but look at the mid lane. We're having a great confluence here. Both Ven and Conte are looking and pushing into the jungle of Rond. Does steal, I think, 2 minions there. And whilst this is all happening, once again in the red side jungle has done this 2 or 3 times already in this game. Pushes away, tries to find anything, but doesn't take any jungle calm.
Trickster in some trouble, then goes up, does not come back down. This time around, deciding the tower dive is not quite worth it. This time around, not much for them to really find in the jungle. Veront will secure their own camp this time. Well, maybe, who knows? Still an opportunity for them to come over and steal. We'll see, but well, we won't see. It's not going to happen right now. Veront will secure that for himself. And then we'll look over towards the right-hand side.
M's also just placed a ward here, so they know exactly where Veront is. They know that Zeru isn't really in a position to push in if that does happen. Whilst this is all happening, Septic gets to what we want. Ven is also diving in on Countess.
The damage coming through from M, though, is solid. Blink away, and Aurora's waiting in the wings. It looks like that will be all she wrote. 2 more kills dive either side. Looks like the carries will trade each other out. And that'll be all she wrote from that engagement. This is startlingly even here, Falcon, though. Look in the mid lane.
Yeah, the mid lane once again, Maya being pushing in onto Richter, and with the help of Conte, who's just not been in his lane whatsoever for the last 5 minutes. They are going to try and push this in. However, Zeru with those mini prime minions are finally looking to take some plates. However, the amount of time he has had to spend on the back foot with Ven nearby, with being pushed in, has been significant. So this isn't going to be as much as you would want on this Countess, but it is a start.
It's a start for sure, and I mean, we're 12 minutes in, Falcon, a total 572 gold difference between these two teams, which is negligible, right? There is absolutely no real differential here. And hold on, first of all, burns to a crisp from long range. Goodbye, Phoenix. Samwise might follow you into the grave, just maybe limping under the tower, but it won't be enough. Even Aurora coming through. Then separated from the team, though, Veront has an opportunity to take down the Kalari, but it doesn't look like Conte is going to let that go for free. Here comes the support, and while Veront has some chase down potential, the wall isn't going to be on the mark. Ultimate comes through, but Veront just can't chase it down.
Yeah, there's just no follow-up from the side of Hope. And honestly, that's just when events punishing the side of Hope. You knew the second factory was spawning up. There was no reason to be that far up at that stage in time when you don't know where the Kalari is. So then punishing that macro play from the side of Hope. And although they don't take the Fangtooth, the respawn timer is too short at this stage of the game. They do get some more kills onto the side of Septic. Ven also gets some assists. And Phoenix, first of all, he is starting to struggle in this game.
Battleground goes quiet for a moment here. Maya tries a little bit of aggression towards Richter, and the Fangtooth, while tried, was not taken away. Instead, more posturing, more wards, and just look at the amount of vision control here around that Fangtooth pit. 3 in total for the side of Venivens, and the river covered from mid for Hope. No real vision on the Fangtooth itself just now, but both the junglers, paradoxically, are on the other side of the map.
Yeah, Ben and M and Zeru are both very low, but they are going to reset. Both knew the junglers are coming in. I don't know if they knew the other side was, though. And, I mean, this has been quite a weird off-lane for me. It's not really been as aggressive from Ben as we expected. He has had control over the wave, but with that mini-fight, Zeru actually got the first tower, has got the gold lead, and now getting into those 1-2 item mark, it is going to be harder for M to fight into this Countess.
Yeah, not only a gold lead, but a full level ahead of their counterpart as well, which, you know, we wanted really Venivens really wanted M to have a stronger start here in that off lane and maybe use that lead around the map. Instead, Zeru, maybe more of a late game threat here on the Countess. Looking a little scarier, as yet again more posturing around the Fangtooth here on the left-hand side.
yeah, it's very slow, this game. I know we're in the EU. Yes, we got kind of baited yesterday with how fast the games were, but you know, with 15 minutes into the game, only one Fang2's taken only 6 kills. So I do expect this game to open up relatively soon. We normally see EU games start expanding and start increasing the pace around the 20-minute mark. So I expect this second Fang2 to really be the catalyst for that, if we even get a team fight for it.
Samwise a little bit isolated here. Septic is walking over to him. Does still have the jump available, so not too in danger. Instead, Conte maybe overextending a little bit, but again, has the mobility, is able to get out of dodge, and it's just more posturing here. You're absolutely right, Falcon. Even for EU, this feels like a little bit of a slow-paced game. Then maybe looking to make something happen on the left-hand side. With this tower being so low, a dive is certainly appealing.
What? Oh, they're going in though. Gonna have the double ults on the Septic, has got the stun, and is going to follow up, but the healing through Conte is enough. Samwise kind of on his own, trying to do the 1v1. Is going to go into the Reckoning, and Septic, he's going to try and survive as long as he can.
And he's going to do just that. In fact, on the other side of the map, we were talking about Emin Saru, and there goes the Countess. Samwise now in a lot of trouble. Maya jumping forward, has the ultimate available, but has to get away. Cannot survive under the tower for very long. Richter as well has made it in, but I mean, they're sniping down Septic from the other side of the map, from the top rope, in fact, and will just about make it out under the tower. Now Aurora coming through, separating with the wall. First of all, has some damage, and Maya cannot make it away. Varant has isolated them in here, and all Phoenix has to do is hit the shots.
It isn't tanky enough, as we have Maya also fall down. However, the resets are coming through. Samwise respawning and coming back in whilst it's all happening. And pushing down the offlane, does take tower, is taking a red buff as well. The issue is the second Fang2 is not going to be able to be taken once again. Vaunt has barely any mana, same with Phoenix first of all. Samwise is nearby, but they don't know where M is. They don't know if he's going to be walking towards that Fang2. They don't know if he's in a threat at this moment in time. So everyone's going to respawn, everyone's going to reset, and we're going to go for round 2.
It's like it never happened. Erase your minds. Give me one of those Men in Black mind eraser doohickeys, because that's basically what we're looking at here. The game state may have changed in terms of financials and levels, but the board looks exactly the same. If anything, Venivens has taken this opportunity to redouble their control of vision over here on the left-hand side of the jungle. Look at that board in the river, Falcon. It is lit up like an orange Christmas tree.
Yeah, there's a lot of water right now on the map, but I'm looking towards Septic because he had such a high gold lead compared to Phoenix first of all, and that damage is ridiculous. Once Revenant gets a few bounties under his control, he will be ripping through people, plus got them desires. However, Samwise going in, he has got backup from Richter, has got backup from Rod, but it's not really doing any damage.
Well, how long is it going to take them to get there? Here comes Richter, and the damage will come through eventually. Conte has nothing to do, and look at Renna, she's still so far away. Only just made it to the Fangtooth pit in the time it took them to, by them I mean Neon, to rotate all the way over. But now Venivens, they're going to capitalize and pick up the mini prime, while Hope will hopefully take themselves their first Fangtooth. Only Conte and Maya are here to try and contest. It might be enough.
It should be able to delay, but the Fangtooth is going down. One still has the hunt, but the amount of damage onto this Aurora is substantial. Maya is also surviving with the help of the healing of Conte, but we have got Ven in the back line.
And she's out. Varant has been able to separate themselves with some space. Ven has made it into the back line. You're absolutely right, but with some carefully placed peel and some interesting positioning. Hold on, Varant. It's not to walk directly back into Ven. He's got his ADC, his carry with him, but it's not going to matter. He's going to fall down for absolutely nothing. Ven perfectly positioned in the stealth to take an extra kill. And it looks like the tier 2 tower might fall as forfeit here as well.
Mini Pride on M, they have got 3 minions pushed in, but they need to wait for the Rex Wave, who has just come through. However, Hope has now returned, is in a defensible position. They're not going to be able to take that tier 2 tower, but they can rotate, go for the Shaper, and this should be able to be picked up. However, they're not even going to go for that. They don't want to risk anything from the side of Venivens. They're going to drop that once again. I mean, I see they want to be safe, but that felt like an objective that wasn't going to really be an issue taking position for them, so I'm not entirely sure why they dropped it.
This is maybe reading a little too far into it, but are Venivens playing a little bit scared to you, Falcon? This, like, we're used to calm EU games, but this seems uncharacteristically quiet from Venivens.
I mean, yes, it's quiet, but I do think that they are in a good position to keep scaling. They have got the Renner for the ultimate scaling. They have got this Revenant who is in a very commanding position, so they can delay the game. They can take a bit longer to go for any of these objectives if they do want it. And speaking of objectives, it's 20 minutes on the clock. That Orb Prime has now spawned. And when we look at how long that second Fang Tooth took to take, this final Fang Tooth is not going to be on the board for a very long time. So we are expecting that to be the main focus. However, then they take down the mid lane of Hope.
Yeah, but there might be a return kill over here in the off lane. In fact, I can almost guarantee it. M is in a lot of trouble, but everyone on Hope has already used their movement, hiding around the corner, trying to bait a little bit more for Ven to make his way over, but it's not going to be enough, not quick enough for the player on Venivens. M will fall down. It's a 1-for-1 trade, but the positioning certainly favoring Venivens here as they're able to start positioning themselves for this objective in the jungle.
Yeah, again, no mid lane on side of Hope. Even with M down, this should be a good position for them to go for, because Hope, they don't really have much a way to get in at the moment. Zeru is half HP. You have got for Rod, but no ultimate. Zeru Samwise has been able to get in, but Freeman
It's a beautiful stun. And Ben will jump straight back in. Zera in so much trouble. So much so, in fact, that they will find themselves on the gray screen, courtesy of Septic Varant. In the middle of the fight here, tries to go over to the wall, but hit again! He gets stunned off of it, and the carry is on a rampage. Phoenix falls down. Varant might be the next player to go as well. A rare miss from the stun from Conte, but Varant will be in a 1v1 position versus Ven, and it will not be enough to save their lives, even though the damage is coming through. Rixer and Samwise still alive, running for their lives.
Yeah, they need to keep. Well, there's no tier 2 tower. It's just been taken by minions, and they're not going to be able to get even there. Epoch coming out of Richter, but 4 sharks in the waters for the side of Venivens. That is going to be the 4th kill. Samwise, the only one left standing. They are running straight towards that Orb Prime. Even with Septic dead, they should be able to take this relatively quickly, and then they can look for these inhibitors.
And what started as a trickle has turned into a deluge of power from Venivens as they look to pick up the Orb Prime and move into a potentially post-game situation here. Hope have put up such an excellent game so far here in game number 1, but it seems to be slipping through their fingers a little bit. Not too much though. There is still a window open for Hope. They've got space. They're not that far behind, but if they let Venivens get much more ground here, it is going to be a tough sell for them to win.
Let's quantify that, because yes, Hope is not that far behind in the top half. The Duocide is so far behind at this stage of the game that it's not even funny. Septic is about a 2k gold lead, same with Conte, and that's basically the entire lead from the side of Venivens. And when we look at carries who have a gold lead, Revenant is way up there in terms of who you don't want. Anyone who goes into that reckoning with Septic is going to lose the 1v1, and if he takes out Richter, who I think is the best target for him to go for, then there is zero chance that Hope can actually win a team fight.
So we just gotta hope that Richter can get his kit off before dying or making it out alive, potentially. All I know right now, Falcon, is that the 3rd Fangtooth is on the board. Whether or not Venivens even deign it necessary to go for in this moment, we'll have to see, because right now, it looks like they're posturing for a potential fight in the mid lane.
I think it's just a waste of time for them to take this with the Orb Prime. They can look towards these inhibitors, look towards taking these last towers, and then they can rotate back to the Fangtooth. Can Hope realistically fight them into taking a 3rd Fangtooth that isn't even for that 3rd Fangtooth buff? It's only the out-of-combat movement speed? I don't think so. I don't think it's worth from the side of Hope. So at most, send Ven to deal with it, but instead he's looking for a kill.
Jumping straight onto Richter. He's already taken half his HP from the top rope. The Mez will pull him closer, but the flash, the blink will save him for now. Will be able to wiggle his way out and dip back into the healing pool at the top of the base. Meanwhile, the siege from Venivens is still occurring, and the damage is just being transferred. Another 2-man stun from Conte will disrupt that plan, and Hope will have to back off for now.
Conte MVP of this game for me. He has been so good on this rat, has hit so many multi-man stunts, it's ridiculous. And it's just such a good sign for the side of Conte to be playing this constantly on the Mako. Hurting to town from the side of Benny Benz, going to use the ultimate to try and take down Beers first of all, but that is not going to follow through. They do have a little bit left on this Orb Prime buff. They got both ways of being pushed into these side inhibitors, but they need to make it fast.
Yeah, it's starting to look like a losing battle for Hope. They need to find a fight. They need to find an opening to push back against this siege, but it doesn't look like they're really going to find it. Veni Vents are playing so incredibly disciplined, and yet again, Ricks are in a lot of trouble. In they go, up into the sky. Epoch saves them for a moment, but there's not much that they can do in the stasis state. Now Septic will claim that kill, and Veni Vents will continue to push down this base.
Richter, most very clear on the team, is down, so Phoenix first of all has to deal with these minions. We have got Veron trying to delay it as long as possible and takes down Zayo in the background.
Oh my god!
From the side of Mayor, that is going to be the curtain call for the side of Benny Benz. Hope is trying to do anything they can. Phoenix first of all, the last one alive, but cannot save the core as Benny Benz takes game number 1.
What an incredible demonstration from both of these teams. And Falcon, we were talking about, can this team of proven players but not proven as a squad really face that much of a threat as Veni Vans? And I'm looking at this, looking towards game number 2 and thinking we are in for a series.
It should hopefully be a series, but the question is how well can they come back from a loss? Because Benny Benz, once they got that lead, it was substantial. Septic and Conte had complete control on their side of the map. That's where Hope needs to look to for this game number 2. They need to give Phoenix first of all, who was just on this Trim Blast. That is what he mainly plays, and he was, I mean, he was outclassed in that game in the lane. So maybe it's the Rampage, maybe they need to get rid of Mako, but Hope they do need to make some changes for game number 2.
Well, I mean, you get rid of Mako, you just give Conte Richter, and you're dealing with a whole different issue, but it's still terrifying. I mean, how many 2-man, 3-man stuns do we see coming out of the support?
Too many.
Too many. Yeah, absolutely correct. I mean, it's such an interesting one for us, Falcon, and I mean, I'm sure we could talk about it more, but that's not our job, because I believe we are ready to throw it over to the 2 people here to break this game down and tell us what exactly went wrong for Hope.
I mean, it is kind of your job, Blazy. But you are right. You know, we definitely
Let's
come
send
back
it back
to
to them.
really, right? Just keep sending it back and forth. I mean, but what a game. That game was definitely back and forth for a little bit until, like they were talking about, the 2 to 3 man stuns. Conte showing why supports are so important. I feel like he really made that impact and difference, because we were talking while the game was going on, the Kalari really couldn't make too much of an impact except for one lane. So, I mean, it was a little bit of a rough time, but just all around, you saw the experience, the team chemistry of Veni Vens kind of play through it all.
It almost also felt like if this dual lane just didn't completely explode the game, then Venom would have a much harder time, because there was just nobody to really be the guy to walk in. But the dual lane is just so strong that they can sort of manufacture plays out of nowhere, right? And I think that's also, of course, partly because Conte is insane. Septic also played really, really well this game, but it's also because there's a Rampage in my lane that does not do anything, and you have a Twin Blast as well, which is probably also not in that top caliber of carry pick. So yeah, probably a bit of a rough draft out of Hope, at least on that side of the map, because the rest I think looked pretty fine to me, F6.
It did, right? I mean, if you kind of consider, if you look back to the First Blood, right, as we get into this one, you can see where Hope had a little bit of light. You kind of felt like Hope was playing through it, as once you kind of just see Kalari just jump into somewhere you shouldn't be.
Yeah, and look at this, like, I'm getting caught out in the jungle, and Venom is the one paying for it. Just all the ultimates on top of him, immediate burst of blood. Countess picking that one up, and from this second onwards, I'm like, okay, the Kalari is a bit behind in tempo. The Countess gets a frag, which makes the lane against the Grux so much easier, right? It opens up a bit of playmaking around this mini prime. It just gives them so many options. So from this start, I was actually thinking, okay, Hope, okay, they're cooking.
They were cooking, right? I mean, you kind of saw the replay. You're like, wait, where did the Kalari go? Yeah, we saw the same thing. It just completely disappeared on our map. And we're like, yeah, we need to stop the Kallari from being able to eat, right? And Hope had a chance, but like you kind of get into a little bit more of the game. They kind of fell back a little bit, and then they had a resurgence, right? They kind of felt like they woke up a little bit. It is game number 1, the first match of the day.
Yeah, so this one is interesting because the Aurora is on the way over to the left-hand side. We can see her in the jungle getting mirrored by the Kallari, but the important thing is that the Kallari is just not able to buy enough time for Septic inside of the Behemoth, inside of the Reckoning, buys himself so much time, but there's so many rotations. We can see all of them walking to the mid lane, Maya cutting them off, Rixter on the rotation as well. But the important thing is that meanwhile all of this stuff is happening on the left side. It's a bloodbath, right? We can see it right here, but the big beneficiary is on this offlane side. It is the Grux picking up this tier 1. He's gonna end up taking the red buff. He's gonna take over this entire map, and even though the Countess was doing pretty well in this game, from this point onwards, the entire offlane side of Benevents is completely accelerated.
Yeah, and then like as we're watching it, right, the viewers at home, like we're seeing the exciting stuff on the screen. The left lane has all the attention, right? But the real big key, like you pointed out, is Grok's getting back into the game, taking away farm from Varant. And at that point, now the Kallari is like, hey, I'm actually not far behind. The rest of my team is eating good, and we're able to kind of get ourselves back to our footing. But Hope just showed a bunch of light, right? Because it's not all for naught. Richter had an exceptional play there, just being able to pop up his ultimate. I don't know how he escaped, but he did, right? So that was a good fight for Hope. But it was a better gain from the side of Benevents when you're talking about macro, micro, trying to make sure you're able to keep that longevity into the later part of the game. And that kind of just ended up being that turning point like you're talking about, when now we're at the Shaper fight roughly around 22 minutes and the big orb prime is spawned. We're into these later game objectives.
Yeah, and in this fight, Venom gets the smite, and then this is all about Septic, right? Look at the Revenant. He dashes in, does not connect with the thing, but then he gets jumped on immediate Reckoning, right? Gets into the Reckoning together with the Phoenix on the Twin Blast, finds the frag. Meanwhile, the rest of the fight is also happening. Everybody has to disengage, and suddenly Septic is in the backline. Yes, he gets picked up by Rixter eventually, but they have to pay such a big price here as well. We can take a look at the pathing of Rixter walking towards the mid lane. Does it not realize that this tier 1 is not up anymore, and he is gonna end up falling as well to Venom blinking on him. So Benevents like actually you get rid of the Benevents, but Benevents, they don't really have anybody to start the engagement, but they're always able to end them regardless.
Right. I mean, you don't need to start it when you have a Revenant taking somebody else out of the fight one-on-one. We know who wins that 20 minutes into the game. And you saw that, right? Rev was able to split the fight. Then the rest of the Hope team were like, wait, this is not how we wanted this one to go. So that's how it is, right? So all around, Benevents to me, they are the stronger team favored. But that game showed Hope, like if they clean up some of these smaller mistakes as we get ready to go into the draft, they're able to kind of execute. Hopefully they take the Rampage if they pick it up, put it in the jungle, use the tiny Rampage to get a little bit more benefit from that, and kind of have somebody in that support role like you're talking about for Samwise to be a better foundation for his dual lane, right? And maybe pack up that TB while you're along with it.
I think Phoenix, like he plays a really sick Twin Blast, so I don't want to talk smack at all, right? But it just doesn't bring the level of power that you would want out of your carry player. So yeah, a lot of draft adaptation to be had. I like the Hope team. I think they would have had a much higher chance of winning if they just swapped the Aurora and the Rampage around, and I think that would have been easier. But the fundamentals of the draft stay the same. Keep Sarah off the Wukong, keep the Adele out of the game as well. Make sure that neither nor, of course, Conte is allowed to pick that one up.
Not allowed to. Benevents still going with the same mains here, just trying to take it out of the way. Hope also don't want the Adele back into that spot. I respect it, right? Since the Adele's already been banned, Benevents just like, okay, sure. But the Mako coming out here, I think this one's warranted. Yeah, you're like, yeah, we don't want to deal with that one again.
So Richter is not banned away compared to the first draft. I don't think it's going to be a first pick material for Benevents. Like I would have been very, very surprised. Neon, one of those picks that Maya loves to play. I think that is actually one of the the dangers I saw for Hope coming into this draft. If Maya is able to get one of those early game picks and then also maybe get a strong jungler together with that, I think Rixter could be a real target for Venivance to attack in this game.
The FaZe being brought out here. We haven't seen FaZe in a hot minute, but hey, she's finally on board. Yeah, first pick. So I'm thinking they're off rip into a Murdoch now. I'm looking at a very safe, aggressive lane, right? You kind of get the aggression because you have that safety of the FaZe, right? But she also brings a really good engagement tool with her laser beam, right? To be able to take a route on. So if they have the rest of their squad, maybe a Richter to kind of pile onto that, because now the Rampage is being picked up on the side of Venivance.
Yeah, it's something I wanted to say. It's like, if you're scared of the Richter, just pick the FaZe early and the Richter is not even going to be in the game. I can promise you that. So I don't think Venivance is going to pick that up themselves. They're going to go with the Rampage route. I can also tell you that this is not going to be a support Rampage. Otherwise, I would be very upset with Venom. They just go the fighter composition with the Zerus, with the Rampage. That is potentially flexed into the support role. Conte used to love that pick, but I'm very much thinking that would be our jungle offlane core out of Venivance. We have the next set of picks. It could be a mid lane pick, because otherwise it would get banned away. Pick something that is very safe, like the Gideon. I like this out of Hope.
It's like you just know what they're going to do there, Tang. You just know what's coming up. It's safe. It's a good pick as well. And it's a real good counter pick towards the Zarya's cage, right? Being able to use that towards space to really kind of get your team out, really get into the objective fights. You guys want to stay in the pit. You guys have an exit out, a nice safe exit. So you'll be able to kind of create a lot with this Gideon. But with that Neon, she does bring that engagement we were talking about. They also, on the side of Hope, don't want to deal with M's Grux, right?
Yep.
But like he's pointing out in draft number 1, the Feng Mao is still up, so they might prioritize that in the band 4 on the side of Hope.
Yeah, could be. I'm seeing some power picks still remaining. First of all, the Yuri. I think if that one is most likely going to be banned away by Venivance, though. We also have the Terra, the tankiness. But honestly, I don't really see where Venivance would want to play that anyway. So maybe we are already expecting the Zerus to actually be really a support in this one, or maybe even the Rampage. But please just don't. This one should be a Yuri. As I said, like that's a no-brainer. And that leaves the Quang. I would be very confident that Sarah wants to pick that,
Yeah. It is going to be Hope, so they do have the opportunity to pick up the Quang early here, but they choose to pick up the Kalari. I mean, I kind of feel like I wouldn't expect that into this comp, right? You feel like this is
what?
Yeah, like I don't feel like Kalari really thrives into this family, but you know what? Maybe Hope knows something that we don't know. But it's the Acheron being available here, and we saw how potent Acheron has been able to kind of be since the last recent patch. Exceptional character. You now have the double scaling back onto Acheron, so he's now able to have a little bit more diversity with that Decker pickup. And right now, Venivance is kind of stealing my heart away with this team comp, just kind of being all around big circles, a lot of CC and a lot of zone control coming out of them.
Wait, am I seeing this right? Who is carry in this in this game? Hello? Is that a Decker ADC? I am very confused whether or not that is right. Richter being picked up on our right side. We know Sarah loves to play that sometimes as well, and they really needed a tank. That was the main thing. So they're gonna have at least one guy to walk in. Kalari is not gonna be the only one in front, but Venivance, I am surprised. F6, like, what is the team called?
Yeah, no, I just looked at it too. I was like, hold on, wait a minute. Hold on a second. You know what? Show me something. I mean, Venivance, we just talked about last draft, they were confident. It wasn't the greatest when it comes all around to like what we're used to, but hey, there's always new tech. This is the PCC. You bring out your best on your day. But let's see if this is what they need. Venivance up game 1 in the best of 3 series. Blazy Bard, Falcon, game number 2.
It really feels, F6, like both of these two teams went, hey, I liked your work last game. Can we swap sheets and see if we can do better ourselves? It almost looks like, well, at the very start of that draft rocket, it looked like two completely salty runbacks of each other's compositions.
Yeah, that's interesting considering Veni Vens won the first game, but there has been at least some changes. We go on to the Hope. I do like the dual lane swap up. The Rampage just wasn't it. So have Samwise on the phase means there's a lot more disengagement. They can go more aggressive as well with that double range comp. So I think that overall Hope's draft is good. Apart from the Kalari, yes, Verwant did play well last game. He did show a lot of promising signs. But when we look at last game, Ven was kind of there. He wasn't actually like the big issue. So if this is a take away the Kalari from Ven on the other side, then I don't really see it. As we get the mystery of the Rampage revealed.
Yes, I'm so sorry, everyone. I did do a little magic trick. You guys didn't see it because we were off camera, but I did a little Alakazam, and I did turn Rampage into Grim. I hope that's okay. I hope everyone's happy with that. I know F6 is looking forward. No, I didn't. So he did load into the game thinking he was going to be playing Rampage, and now he's not. So maybe that will impact his performance, and maybe Hope will have an interesting time up against that. But now that we can see... now that we've changed the Rampage into a Grim, how do you think that this composition from Veni Vens fares?
I think Septic is just very comfortable. Grim Conte as well has another character that has a stun ball, so that's a pretty good sign. However, it is going to be harder to play into this lane compared to the last one. It was more the case that they weren't, Septic and Conte weren't playing like a strong lane. It was just Samwise and Phoenix first of all was playing a very weak lane. However, even saying that, they do have the level 1 push. Grim is a very strong level 1 character with that precision blast, with that passive as well. But they do need to be careful with one. They can go for a cheeky level 2 gank, and that's exactly why Septic already put down a ward.
Yeah, not much change here from Veni Vens. They were able to get pressured last game. They're going to get pressured this game, likely enough. However, peep the mid lane where it's actually going to be Gideon forced under that tower yet again, I should say. Veni Vens pressuring all around the map, though M taking a little bit of damage here. It's interesting that we're seeing Zeru here on this Richter. I would have thought that would have gone to the support lane.
I think Victor in the off lane is in a very good position, especially with the Yggdrasil. Gets you very, very tanky as the game goes later. And to be fair, he is a little bit of a bully in this lane as well. Can do a lot of damage into M with that Whiplash, with that silence as well. Can just make sure that M can never really ult, and has a good amount of setup with his ganking potential as well, with the help of a want. So I do like this pickup. Plus, you already had the phase. You already have that enchanted support backline. You needed the front line. There was still available, but I think Victor does also fit the bill.
I'm looking at both of these characters here, and I'm thinking, are we watching Mecha Spider-Man versus Mecha Venom?
I mean, Mecha Santa Claus would make sense, I guess. It is the wrong time of the year, but, you know, why not have Christmas in the summer? Let's be Australia for a bit.
He's got the big rope. Anyway, mid lane, under a lot of pressure, actually, so much so that Richter is going to fall down in a blistering 3-minute first blood in favor of Veni Vens. They'll reap the rewards of that and grab themselves some river camps as well, as already this seems to be a much rougher start for Hope than game 1.
It's not great. Victor did leave his blink up, so it could be a case that he was bursting 100-0, didn't have a chance to blink, or just decided to save it where he knew he wasn't getting out anyway. For one, also getting invaded on, and Ben is showing why Zaris is just such a strong character for him to play. But they are going to catch Maya on the background. That is going to be a return kill. Samwise also returning over. It is a 3v2. Ben does have blink, is going to blink away from 4 members. They do get the 2 camp, but they do lose their mid laner in response.
I mean, it's not a bad trade, and Hope, you know, they're able to stem the bleeding a little bit. Losing just your mid laner for nothing in return could have led to a very slippery slope, especially up against a Neon who can just scale up so quickly if she's able to get a lead. But with that kill, it will put Hope in not a good position, but certainly a better position than they would have been otherwise. Meanwhile, the left-hand side, just back into this poke war back and forth. Septic and Conte actually already on half HP.
Samwise just blink in, has got the reset with the blind, so it's just going to try and trade out autos with Septic, who hasn't got any mana left. Conte is also relatively low, so for the moment hopes to be able to push this in. Many events, they really don't want to reset here. There's a lot of minions in this wave if they do reset early on, but they are going to get pushed in. Isn't going to lose the first plate at least, because Samwise did have to go ward as they are finally going to reset after taking down the wave. However, saying that, Samwise, they might be playing a little bit tricky.
They're looking to aggress for sure. They certainly don't want Venivens to back, especially with Septic being so low on mana. There's not really much that he can do to fight back against this damage. First is going to dive in. He will take a tower shot for his trouble. And the damage, I mean, it's not insignificant, but it's not quite enough to take down Grim this time.
That's not the question, though. The question is, how long can they delay the reset? Because that means that they have aggression in the lane, they can keep pushing minions under the tower, and then they can get at least one plate, as the dual side of Venivens does finally reset. Avant is on this side, the off-lane side of the map as well. As Zeru does hit level 6, M is going to get it on this wave, but he needs a few more minion kills, which will be happening under tower.
Yeah, actually has to walk away, and hold on, look at the positioning from Veron. M is actually turning it around with a beautiful 1-2 punch. Drops the ultimate there as well in case Veron wanted to try and come in. But do not challenge me in my own web, seemingly M shouts.
I'm just completely outclassing Zeru. They're just, I don't really need ult. I'm just going to stun you. I'm going to burst you. And you are not as tanky as you think you are at this stage of the game. So that is going to completely flip-flop now off lane for the moment. M was struggling before that. Now he can push the minions under tower. Probably not going to get a plate at least, because Zeru is going to reset, but is going to get that sign buff, going to then recall back to base, get a few more items, as we can see that Avant is doing the exact same.
Left-hand side grouping from Venivens, potentially to get aggressive, but it will be just a tower play from Phoenix. Ooh, not looking to get really much, never mind. Conte able to wipe them off the map regardless. That'll be an extra kill in favor of Venivens as they continue to push this lead further.
I have no idea how that kill happened. Because still a blink up. Phase Poor Imagine is still available as well. Septic is going to get the first place as Conte does steal them away. The furthest player away from the tower is the one who gets those gold drops towards him. So Conte, as they're walking out, is the reason why that did happen. But now in a straight position, they have got Ben nearby. They might go for another kill on Samwise, who just has hit that level 6. But with the Colosseum, with the GTFO, there is the burst potential, but it is risky.
Someone call this over-aggression. I think Venivens would call this perfectly calculated. They're able to posture really, really well. Septic deals a metric ton of damage to that tower and will walk away completely unscathed. Nothing lost. Meanwhile, on the right-hand side, M in a lot of trouble, especially with Rickster making the rotation over. He's got the range, he's got the poke, but the damage doesn't seem to be all that there. But with one auto attack, the root will come on through, and then the meteorite will crush that itsy-bitsy spider under it.
I don't think you need to use the Skewer there, Zeru. That was a little bit of an overkill, but they are going to immediately transition towards this mini prime. We have got Rickster trying to delay Maya from coming over, but Ven is nowhere near. This is going to be traded out for that first Fang Tooth. The question is, who are they going to give this mini prime to? Because Zeru, he is playing a tank. He's not really that much of a aggression. Gold is okay on him, but he's not going to be the highest potential. However, they are going to give it over to the offlaner. They do want to try and get those plates online instead of the Kalari. Might be a mistake in my eyes, but either way, this is going to be traded out for that first Fang Tooth.
It just puts the pressure on M, who had such a spectacular game in the last match. So maybe just giving a bit more confidence to Zera, giving them the opportunity to push this small lead that they've been able to build for themselves. Currently just around 105 gold for themselves, and not even really a level. If anything, they are still behind in terms of experience, but this may be hoping to rectify that issue. However, M has made a rotation to the mid lane, and with a bunch of damage from the top rope, Mayo with a bomb all the way back towards the end of the tower will claim the kill, and yet again, Gideon takes a spill.
Another final thread that has been going from downtown. That's already 2 deaths on the side of Richter, who is not having the best game at the moment in time. Has had at least a 1 kill from that side in the off lane. But Mayo is going to be able to at least pick up another plate here. This is going to be the second one of the game. Might be able to pick up a third by the time these plates do fall off. This Neon is looking extremely dangerous in this game.
Great ward that spot out Varant. Mayo knows exactly what the score is.
Off lane.
And we'll spot it immediately. You're absolutely right. Zera, I mean, doesn't even really look like Zera was in that much danger. Walks away, barely lost a third of his HP. And he'll be just fine. What I would love to talk about in this mid lane, Falcon, is it almost feels a little bit like a, not grudge match per se, but Maya certainly showing Rickster, hey, I know you used to play on this team, but I'm here now, and I'm just better.
Gonna get a repeat gank going for those gold plates as Zeru does take a lot down to it. Shield is popped. The Colosseum does follow through. Zeru, no way out. That is gonna be the mini prime taken away. I love that play from Ven. They knew that they were gonna go for that plate pickup, so he just had to wait around, wait for the next winning wave, and then just do the repeat gank once again. Easy kill from the side of Benny Vens. As in this duo side, a massive wave is being pushed in to the side of Hope.
And just take a look, right? Exactly what causes that issue, Falcon, is the lack of wards from Hope. Nothing towards the duo side, nothing towards the offlane either. And that complete lack of vision means that Ven is able to get away with plays like that. He can just walk in straight behind Zera and take him out with no contestation, no warning. Just absolute sheer calculated brilliance from Benny Vens.
Yeah, but also at the same time, Zeo, he really should have expected that to happen. You have a Ven already over there. This is a high IQ level player who knows how the game works. If you're going to immediately walk back up to the lane after 10-15 seconds of seeing the jungler, that's kind of going to happen every single time, as we do get a slight invade from the side of Verwant, but immediately walking into Ven, this is going to just turn into a 2v3 here.
Yeah, but Ven's definitely taking the bad side of it. Down he falls, and, well, hold on. Gideon might be in some trouble here as well. It's Varant actually with the low health bar. Rickster feeling just fine. Phoenix will be traded on the other side of the map, but it's all down to the damage. M is right here, but the blink away will find Rickster safe this time. Zera is available as well, as another kill falls in favor of the duo lane on Benny Vens. So even though they're able to pick up the jungler, Hope still fall behind in these encounters.
It's another 2 kills. Both Phoenix and Samwise fall down in that duo side. Once to Conte, once to Septic, and this Grim is kind of feeling like the first game where quietly Septic is getting a monumental lead in this duo side. And honestly, Revenant was pretty bad. Grim is not much better. He is a hyperscaler. He has so much damage available. Already 1,400 gold ahead. That's basically half an item at this stage of the game, and I feel like that's only going to increase with how the game is going.
Yeah, a total 2,500, I was about to say 25,000, 2,500 gold lead ahead, but hold on, this could change all of that. Phoenix picks up a kill onto Septic, and a second kill goes down as well. This is massive for the duo lane of Hope. Then is, maybe taking a little bit of damage there. We'll get rooted out and take a little bit of chip. Varant has made his way over as well, and the jungler from the event is taking a lot of damage, already down to a quarter of his health bar. One little piece of chip will do it. Can he move away? No, he cannot escape the long arm of the law.
Phoenix 3 kills plus a massive shutdown on the Septic. That is what you needed at that exact time. That is perfect for the side of Hope. Thank you for also spawning relatively...
Oh no.
Thank you, relatively spawning pretty soon. So Hope they have a chance to get back into the game with the death timer of Ven. Nothing else happened, what we just saw.
I feel like Hope is so close. Falcon, they are able to get so much opportunity. Maya might pick up another kill. No, Rickster will walk away. But Venny Vens, every single time Hope gains something, Venny Vens takes something away from them somewhere else on the map. Case in point, left-hand side, the tower's gone, and Varant could be in trouble here as well.
Ven is also on the side of the map once again, but they do take out Conte. Septic and Conte maybe being a bit too much of an ego player right now, pressing up once again whilst they don't know the Kalari is. Vaunt has been playing pretty well this game, hasn't had like a standout sign in either game, but has been consistent, and that's what you need from the jungler. However, they had to reset, and this is going to allow Veniven to walk into the pit uncontested and take this second Fangtooth at the 14-minute mark. That is going to allow the third Fangtooth to spawn around the same time as that Orb Prime. As the mini prime does spawn, we can see the Vaunt is immediately on that. Zay will probably walking over there as well pretty soon, as Septic is in a lot of danger here. Is going to fall down once again. The Phoenix first of all.
This is a massive switch up, and that lead that we were talking about, that 2,500 gold lead in the dual lane, now is just 1,200 in favor of the support, with just 100 gold separating these carries. That's a massive swing, Falcon, and if anything, could be the catalyst for Hope to bring this game back and take us to a game 3. This could be it. This putting that extra resource onto the carry player is exactly what they need.
It's even more now because the tower was just taken about 500 gold ahead before that even happened. So if Phoenix first of all, he's probably about 800, 900 gold ahead. As we want to look for the kill, Conte is going to be there in time to save Maya, who just comes out of the epoch. That is a perfect epoch from the side of Maya there, but that is a long cooldown.
Rigster has the blink available to him, luckily, because otherwise the combined efforts of that squad will take him down. Maya tries to fish for that kill yet again, but I feel like Rigster's been burned by that one too many times. Hold on, where did M come from? Spider-Man, Spider-Man, run away as fast as you can. Conte will be the one to fall down, though, and however, Ben is in so much danger. The long arm of the law comes through yet again, but it will actually take down the jungler, then falls, and it's a great opportunity. M in trouble as well.
He should be able to escape. He has got the dash and he got the double dash as well. But that's 2 kills for a tier 1 tower in the mid lane. Can Hope recapture that? They do have the mini prime available. Septic only one here. He should fall back. This tower, tier 1 tower is not worth your life at this stage of the game. So he is going to try and auto down the minions as much as he can. And hope there's not actually that much damage going onto this tower. They might be able to help this. Might be able to defend with the help of Mayo, with the help of Conte. And they're going to have to fall back.
Yeah, Hope they just lose too much HP. They don't have the sustain to really bring this one back, bring their health back without having to reset themselves. But, I mean, Falcon Tower notwithstanding, this is what Hope needed to do. They've been slowly bleeding away this entire game so far, and they finally found that one fight to bring them back into it. Things have evened up a little bit more now, and Hope are going to be able to fight from a more even standpoint in future engagements.
Yeah, but the future engagements are very much in the hand of Veniven, especially around that third Fangtooth, because that is kind of an auto requirement from Hope. They have to fight that. Whilst Veniven's, if it's not looking great for them, they can just say, okay, we're going to back up, we're going to press the Orb Prime, and that's going to force Hope to go for that instead. So realistically, in terms of macro, Veniven is ahead as they get a decent amount of downs on the Phoenix first of all, on to oh my god, my voice. Samwise is going to have to back it up, but the amount of healing coming out of this phase now is actually not too bad.
It's too intense. Let's take a quick breather and catch up with the scoreboard now, leading by just about 1,500 gold here. 17 minutes into the game. Realistically, that's not a real tangible lead for Venivens, though they are still markedly in the lead. We are about 2.5 minutes out from the next round of objectives coming up, folks. That's where we are going to see our next major POIs. The third Fangtooth could potentially go onto Venivens as well, stacking those buffs up even further and making this really difficult for Hope. We need to see them find a win at that Fangtooth pit and take the objective away from Venivens if they want to be in for a chance at Game 3.
Looking at Ven's movement at the moment is looking towards the suicide. Phoenix, first of all, is the main target priority for Venivens. If they can take out the Murdoch, that's a large amount of damage from Hope removed. Another thing I want to really look at is this off lane, because the first person who gets that rotation out towards that Fangtooth is going to create a lot of advantage for their team, but neither of them are really able to move at the moment. We might just go down to a 4v4 as Zay just going to go full down, 2 levels down.
Solo Bolo potentially about to happen. Long arm the law off the mark,
Misses.
but then... But this is so important. It caused M to run away. He had to move. It gave Cyrus some space, and while there is now an opportunity for him to bring it back, get over here, pulls him in with the no probe, and will turn it back around.
Why is Phoenix first of all over here though? Because that gives them the free third Fang Tooth. The Benny they're immediately going to start this. Ravont is nearby, but there's no chance that Hope comes in. Ravont has to make a steal on this. This is the kill for third Fang Tooth. Benny takes that every single day of the week.
It's a small win, immediately tainted by a massive loss. Benny take the third Fang Tooth. Looks like they'll take down Maya. Actually, hold on, it's Maya. To fall down, I was confused there. This should be Benny in the aggressive seat, but no. Hope turn it around. They pick up the mid laner. That's 2 picks. It still doesn't make up for the Fang Tooth loss, but with only 20 seconds left until the Prime, well, that's not going to really be the opportunity here. Will be the Schaefer instead taken away, but it's still a small glimmer, a small return for Hope to take back after losing that Fang Tooth.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of what we were saying about. These players are very good. They know how to play the map. They know how to play individually in this micro, in these fights. But in terms of team play, mistakes like that are significant. You have your carry go to the other side of the map. The carry, that is the pinnacle point of your team comp. And as soon as he's not there, you can't fight in the Venivens. And that gives them this third Fang Tooth, which is just, might be pivotal in this game. That might be the deciding moment. Yes, Hope is still very much in this game. They're ahead in kills. They're pretty even in terms of gold still. But the 8% stat, that's going to increase every single time. And then we've got to remember as well, Maya, they've gone demiurges. So those stats are going to be increased even more.
I think a great way to frame this is looking at what that would have done in ranked, right? When you're not expecting the enemy team to be so coordinated and ready to punish even the smallest level of bad positioning or decision making, right? In ranked, maybe that play works out perfectly. You get the kill on M, you have enough time to rotate back to the Fang Tooth before Venivens can really rally up and make a stand at the objective, but not here, not against one of the only teams to stack up into Nightshade EU so far undefeated, right? Venivens, they are not going to roll over for you like that. If you show them that you're in the wrong place, they will punish you like that.
Yeah, and now we're kind of in the slow state once again. All Prime has been warded by both teams. They know exactly when this is starting. And once again, these offlaners are on the opposite side of the map. And, I mean, if Venus, first of all, wasn't over there, Emmet did have the advantage. Has gone for more of a damage, has got that Mega Cosm, gone that Magnify, has got a lot of HP damage on this Aquan. Also, nearly 2-level lead at this point. He's going to have that third rank in the ultimate very, very soon. So he is struggling in this 1v1. But basically, he isn't designed for the 1v1. He wants to get these team fights. He wants to get those quick potentials with that Whiplash, and he's just not been allowed to so far this game.
All Prime is up and awake. Both of these two teams now have to posture properly. If they don't want to risk losing All Prime and, by consequence, likely the game, Venivens just one win away from making it all the way up into Pinnacle and having a relatively relaxed rest of their week. They'll have a little bit of time before they need to play again. Meanwhile, Hope, they win this, they will also have another opportunity. They'll have game 3 to potentially bring this one back, but also notably to prove themselves to be in the conversation in this pantheon of EU teams. There's still time for them. And let's have a look at that vision in the jungle. It is all VV.
All VV. We did have Hope lose one ward there. He did go away in the pit. I don't know if it was overridden or just timed out, but Samwise is nearby, might be able to get another one down. However, Conte is going to be able to clear these out at least. Both suicides are on now the off-lane map, but look where Ravont is. Might make the same mistake as we saw previously. Hope they cannot sow their jungler on the opposite side of the map because that will start the All Prime.
Getting aggressive over here on the right-hand side. Ben goes in straight away. Samwise meets the pavement. GTFO. And will not be feeling great about that. Septic rooted right in front of the tower, but no re-aggression from Hope. They don't really want to contest this, but the tower is, well, not what Venivens want to look at. They got a kill. It looks like the Orb Prime is on the table.
Yeah, they have forced out Vavant as well, but they're not starting it just yet. It is still a little bit low risk. They don't want to take any unnecessary chances because they can just push in. Primal Fountain spawning pretty soon as well. As once again, Zeru, they're fighting now, and this time there's going to be no support from the side of Zeru, but with the long after law, Zeru takes down with the backup of the Murdoch. That was so much damage onto the Acheron.
Insanity from literally across the map. The homie bump from the carry just as they were to fall down anyway. So Maya does have to commit the ultimate to it though. So, you know, maybe a little bit of a W there, but notably now Falcon, both teams missing a player, and no one is currently actively aiming to take down this Orb Prime. So we'll see you again in 30 seconds when all players are back on the board, but Phoenix will take Septic, and we'll keep on living.
Is that worth it? Because that's all Blink. Phoenix first of all blinked in to try and get the kill. Yes, there is a large death timer, but the 5-minute blink timer on this Murdoch is going to mean that Samwise has to play perfectly. He has to pull anyone back, and that is, he's going to have to basically keep his tether always on this Murdoch. I don't think that's really worth at this stage of the game. Might be an ego kill, might have just wanted to get that 1v1 kill, but in terms of the later the game goes, that might be a tragic mistake from the side of Phoenix first of all.
It's all going to be down to whether or not they can make good use of it, right? Venivenz, they have the information, and Ven certainly, especially with how much he's been popping off so far in this game particularly, Ven will certainly want to make an effort to go and take Phoenix out, really focus him down. Has the lockdown tools, has the stopgap, and look at this positioning here. Falcon hope they've moved away from the Prime. They want to go over for this Fangtooth.
Primal Fangtooth is the better buff in terms of just taking objectives. That burn will do a lot of damage to the Orb Prime. Whilst the Orb Prime, it gives you a little bit, it gives you pressure in terms of sieging, but in terms of team fight, it's not as much as they do look for M, who is just going to be able to escape once again. The question is, Venivenz, do they want to transfer? As Zeru gets caught by 3 members, this is going to be the Richter down.
Up and down, Maya will clean that one up, and our man advantage, 56 seconds on the grayscale. And, well, if anything's going to open up objectives on the map for Venivenz, it will be a pick, especially a big frontliner like Zera. There's no opportunity for them to come back into this. Shaper will fall in terms of Venivenz, but look at where they're going. They're going straight over towards the Orb Prime, where Hope have already started to collapse onto, but they will have to make a full unconditional retreat as Venivenz sweep in through the jungle.
This is just to make sure that they can pull away, but there's no blink of finish first of all. This is going to be a kill onto the Murdoch. That's exactly what I was talking about earlier. There's no way to escape. That is going to be a main down source of Hope down. Richter also very low. GTFO followed through. Maya trying to do as much damage as he can with the black hole.
Grand Epoch yet again. Maya demonstrating his mechanical mastery as the tier 2 tower falls down here in the mid lane, and it might be a sign for Venivenz to start to back off, or they could push further for the inhibitor back off. It will be one player left still on Hope on the grayscale. That'll be Murdoch. 34 seconds left on the carry player, and that will open up a nice big old door into the Prime Pit.
Yeah, they need to start taking these objectives. Knowing Murdoch means that Hope can't fight this. They have got plenty of damage. We've got to remember as well, Ben, he's gone a damage read. He's not really that tanky. He's gone Alternator, he's gone Solstice, he's gone Zyrus. This Zyrus is a big damage threat, and then he has Septic, who is just a machine gun at the stage of the game. This is going to be down, but what is going to be there, but not there enough, as that is the objective taken from the side of Venivenz.
A massive swing, and while Hope yet again, just like game 1, Falcon, they did so good at stemming the bleeding and making Venivenz work for their victory. But now we are staring down the barrel of a team that is so ahead, so powerful, and poised, ready to walk down mid or any other lane for that matter, take some objectives, take some towers, and win the game.
what I do right now is many events is the towers aren't the big thing. It's the Primal Fangtooth. That is going to be your death sentence from the side of Team Hope. You already have Orb Prime. You can already set up these waves to be auto-pushing in your favor. Then start the mini Primal Fangtooth, which has already been started by the side of Ben. You only really need 3 members here. Conte with Septic should be more than enough. Maya can just look around in the background and not even close by. And once this Primal Fangtooth has spawned, just go 4-1. Let M push in the side lane. Maybe let Ben also push the side lane and let you push 3 in the mid as they Hope does try and do something. But M is just too tanky at the stage of the game.
He's too tanky and he's too mobile. Gets out of dodge like that. Rickster deleted in the same amount of time. And look at all the players of Hope. They were all grouped up, hopeful to take M and maybe grab just a little bit of a recovery bonus for themselves for losing both of those major objectives. Instead, they have to back off. They have to move back over here. Long Arm of the Lord trying to maybe take Maya and Conte if it had worked out for them. Not quite on the mark this time around, though. And it's a last-ditched effort, but might have been enough to dissuade Benny Vens to back off for now and try and reset for this inhibitor, but I'm not quite sure why.
It's just a case of HP values. They don't really have any sustained healing. They don't have the likes of a Maker, the likes of a Phase to regen Maya, to regen Conte, who are both half HP. You haven't got M over there either. You really wanted to wait for him to start pushing up onto this inhibitor now, and then they could start pushing up. It does mean that the buff is delayed. They don't have the all-fine minions left, but they still have that Primal Fangtooth burn. They still have plenty of damage available as well. This isn't going to really stop them in much. It's just going to delay at best.
One inhibitor has fallen down. The right side in here will fall as well. Zyra will follow it into the grave. And I'm not really too sure there's much more that I can say other than congratulations. Benny Vens will be making it all the way through to Pinnacle and will secure their place in the very top echelon of this tournament.
That was a lot closer of a game compared to game number 1, but even then, many events, they showed up as a team. They made the correct macro decisions. They got that third Fangtooth. And at that point in time, it was going to be hard for Hope to come back. There was a chance, but just a few picks, just a few missed positions by the side of Hope meant that many events, they could secure the objectives they needed to. And at that point, it was just too much damage for Hope to deal with.
I gotta give this up to Hope. I know they are, tragically going down and they'll have to win another set for themselves, but we have been talking in EU for so long, Falcon, about Venivens and Nightshade, and there are other teams that fill that third slot. They ebb in, they ebb out, but this team with a little bit more refinement, a little bit more team coordination, could truly look to challenge that higher echelon of play.
You've got to remember, this tournament is a marathon, not a sprint. It's over 3 weekends. One loss isn't going to be the end of the day. Hope they started 2-0, they're now 2-1. They only really need to win one more game to actually get to that next stage. So there is plenty of chances to come back, chances to keep practicing on. And, 2 weeks later, you don't know what sort of team you're going to be.
Well, we're going to throw it back over to the desk to break down this victory for Venivens and maybe give us some insight into what Hope can do to get better.
Yep. You know what? We never know what you're going to be, but we do know today, as of right now, Venivens is 3-0, pushing themselves on. What a fantastic match. But I do agree it was close, a back and forth, and undoubtedly a new name coming into the scene with some players that we know.
Yeah, no, I loved what Blazy said, because we did see mechanical stuff out of the Hope guys that was really top-notch, right? Like the Kalari outplays, like some of these Gideon rocks hitting, some of those rotations really good. But at the same time, it was always Venivens, the ones having sort of the macro game on a lock, right? We're thinking back to the third Fangtooth, stuff like that. So really promising stuff, just a bit of fine-tuning, and then we can really hope to see them in the finals, maybe in a few weeks.
We talked about the dash game, sorry, but we're going to relax there. But no, it all comes down to the final win for Venivens. But there was kind of a process going through that, right? Starting off with roughly 12 minutes, it kind of took a while for a real impactful play to happen. But at the river, we're kind of just taking that fight for the seedling, and there's just like a big 2-for-1 trade here going on.
Yeah, so Venom is the one that actually wants to force a fight really badly, and in the river, he is the one getting caught again. Here, I want to highlight Voron's mechanics on the Kalari, just buying himself so much space. Septic gets the frag on Phoenix on the other side of the map, and here the rotation by Am able to pick up one more, or actually get the blink out instead. So I really love this. So we did see up to this point, Venivance the one heavy in control, and from this point onwards, Hope always fighting back. You can see it in our next clip in a second, where suddenly Hope already back with the kills being equalized. This one in particular, I'm gonna pause this for a second as well, because this is super deep, right? We're seeing the tier 1 still up. We see Venom just diving through it, trying to get onto the backline. We see the fight being split as well. Voron fighting on the other side against the duo lane, right? Making sure, okay, Venom is disjointed, and then Venom completely alone diving the tier 2. And yeah, we can see Hope just has a field day with this.
And like you talked about, right, Venivance from that point just kind of steamrolled the game. Not steamrolled, but they kind of had control over everything for a hot minute. And then here comes like 4 or 5 minutes later, they do an aggressive play that's like, if you just waited to take down the T1, then you're going to be able to like continue this fight. And now they just put themselves into a not worse position as in really bad, but kind of giving Hope, like you said, a little hope to be able to keep driving through that game number 2.
Yeah, and it's also showing off that Hope is able to press buttons as well, right? Like, they were pretty good, but just not
clicking buttons.
Yeah, just not when it really mattered, right? Like, these are all situations where Venivance walked in themselves. It's Venom looking for a fight in the river. It's Venom over chasing into the tier 2 while the tier 1 is still up, right? So moments like these, Hope can pounce on, and now it's only about cleaning up sort of the objective game, right? Making sure we're not giving over 3 Fang Teeth, but that's the beauty of the PCC. It's not over for them yet, right, F6?
We got 3 stages. This is why we kind of revamped the format to kind of allow a little bit more of a fight between all tiers of teams. But we still have a bracket that's being updated as we go along today. We're going to take a look at the EU side with Venivance being pushed on, Hope having to fight one more battle to kind of keep going through. But there's still some top contending teams here trying to fight out. I know Dayshade, I love that just because of the meme of the name. So I mean, there's still so much to be played throughout the EU bracket, and a lot of these newer names are showing out and kind of just saying, hey, like the scene is here. We're here to kind of play through and kind of contend for those top positions.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good matchups still to be had. A lot of question marks, a lot of things that people could probably guess. Venivance being through this stage, probably not the biggest surprise, but I mean, Hope made them fight for it, so that is at least pretty decent. We're gonna have one more match, I think, on the EU side before we swap over to NA after, right, F6?
Yes, we have one more match coming in from the EU side of the bracket. They just wake up a little bit earlier than we do from the NA side over here. But yeah, no, we still have some more EU coming your way after this. But any kind of final thoughts here for you, Tang? I mean, seeing Hope kind of rise up, we talked about that a lot here, but still for me, really the surprising thing is I'm looking at Venivance. I mean, they've been the number 2 for a long time. So if Venivance can look very close towards this Hope team, I mean, maybe Venivance are getting that much closer to Nightshade EU.
That is always the hope. And also, like, I have the insider scoop as well, F6. It's a big alarm for Nightshade fans. They have been winning scrims, and if you are
that is
scary. If you know Nightshade, then you know leading up to a tournament they're losing every single scrim, right? So them actually doing the reverse, that is scary.
That is scary, but you know what? We aren't that far yet. Weekend 2, just not quite here yet because we got to finish day number 2. We're gonna go to a quick break real quick, and we'll see you guys for the next matchup.
Soul in the blood rain. Why they play into afterlife. Man, I love the state of mind. Drifting through the ultraviolet light. Colorblind, sinking into afterlife. Man, I love the state of mind. So bring me to the garden, into ultraviolet. Never felt so focused, all my senses hiding. Subject to your abuse. I'm that desire in your blood you can't prove.
Hey! Come on! Airheads have more fun.
Oh yeah, chat. It's that time.
So good.
Gross.
Jesse, you remember Danny?
Hey. Hey. Nice fit, bro.
Thanks. Here we go. How are you doing that?
4 parks. 1 vacation that changes everything. Universal Orlando Resort.
savor the puppy stage, while they savor every bite with high-quality protein and nutrient-rich meals from Caesar.
Stop rolling. Stop rolling. Stick to the plan. No improv, no theatrics.
These players are doing whatever they want all the time. We need to control this. I knew you, but I didn't know your name.
Come on!
He's not even listening to me. 5 minutes. Going down to 4. About 3. You're at 1.
I don't think that's a good idea.
People doubted me all the way, telling me I was all hype. They just mad that I'm him and they gotta deal with it. If you don't like it, you can suck.
One of the things that makes me most proud is I did things Lando's way.
I don't need everyone out there to like me. I like being different.
You are world champion.
Endless Shrimp is back because you've been asking a lot, and we made it happen. Pick 3 to start, then mix it up endlessly. Walt's favorite shrimp.
Endless.
Garlic shrimp scampi.
Endless.
Shrimp linguine Alfredo.
Endless.
And new Marry Me shrimp. All
endless.
Endless Shrimp is back by popular demand. But hurry, Endless can't last forever. Only for a limited time. Only at Red Lobster.
Thank you for calling Lily. What are we shading today?
Hey, how's it going, action? Oh, that looks amazing. Exquisite.
Oh, so close. Hugs every curve.
Begin.
Snappy. Literally so cute.
I tried to understand a better part of me, but no one ever told me it is hard to see that I become my own worst enemy, 'cause I am alone. Hey, I've tried to run away every minute, but don't know where to go, I admit it. I tried to cover up how I'm feeling, but I'm burning inside.
Welcome back, folks, to the Summer Summit. We have just come off the back of an intense 2-game series where Venivens found themselves to be the first non-pre-qualified team to make it up into the pinnacle. It is now me joined by Falcon as we break down Team Baguette. We're about to go up against NXR. One of these two teams will make it through to pinnacle as well. The other one will be set on a 2-2 record.
Yeah, 2-1 for both teams. They have fought a few teams that have had high capabilities, but both of them still rather unknown. I don't believe we watched either of them yesterday either, so there is a lot of interest in both of these teams. Let's going to go through Team Baguette first. This is, there's no hint whatsoever, but they're a French team. I don't know if you could work that one out, Blazy, by anything.
Let me. You keep talking. I'll study and see if I can figure out
if
there are any clues.
Okay. So yeah, in the off lane we have Mentor. In the jungle we have I am Poat. Oh, you worked it out.
They have a B in their name.
Perfect. Yeah, in the jungle we have Mr. Poratsti. In the mid lane we have Billa. In the support we have V Rexy, and in the carry we have Isaka. So a very interesting team. A few players that have been before. Bento especially was on that Friends winning team for the National League. In the mid lane though, so is going to be into that off lane. Do you want to go through the Nexar team for us, Blazy?
Oh, I sure can. Nexar, they'll be running down Drekadan, TMES. This name is very Makur, I want to say. That's going to be my crack at it. Sloans and Lederlappen is, I'm sure Tang will have something to say about my pronunciation of that one. But suffice to say, two teams that have a bit of a mix of experience in the scene, both from a ranked standpoint and a competitive standpoint. I think you already mentioned Mentor, who was on actually the same team as some of the players from the team that we saw in the last game, Hope. So some really solid players to come through here. Not many people that we have too much to talk about in terms of their individual performances, but Baguette have a little bit more experience playing together.
Yeah, so it is going to be rather interesting in terms of how these teams come through. The main thing I want to point out, though, is we haven't seen it in the previous games, but we did see Fully Smiling yesterday. Team Nexar beat them. Baguette, that's their loss. So in terms of ranking scales, that could be quite significant in terms of what we're seeing before this game begins. But either way, we are going into that draft. So Baguette, they're going to get that first pick, first ban.
Yeah, so it'll be really interesting to see how this one shakes out. We've seen a really interesting mix of how this meta is really starting to form for itself. Renner will be the first character banned away. Baguette don't want to deal with it. Aurora will be the response here from Nexar.
A little bit of an interesting balance compared to the last set we have seen. Both of these were highly picked, but not really banned away. Boris was a ban, though, not going to be allowed to be picked up whatsoever. TMAS, I think that's one of his favorite champions to play, so that is going to be removed immediately. There is quite a lot of high priority targets still available. Adele going to be power banned as we expect on the EU side. Murdoch is available. The house got Neon, that was first picked up both times in the last set, but we are going to get instead the Richter.
Yeah, see, this is really interesting to me. We saw it be flexible off into that offlane last time around, so this acts something of a distraction. Is this going into the offlane? Will it be the support? We all have our guesses as to what the more likely option is, but regardless of what you think Team Baguette is going to do with this Richter, you now have to think about, well, what if it's the other option? And very equally on the other side, I said this to you earlier on during Game 2, for in our first series here, Falcon, picking Rampage first does the exact same thing that I just said about Richter.
What I can do, what you can do, I can do better. We have got both flex potential, but what we don't have is the Neon in the mid lane. That is going to be confirmed. For the side of Team Nexar, that is a big priority pick. We did see how strong this Neon can be in the last set. It is one of the higher picked champions in this series so far, and an EU staple. That is going to be the Krang. Again, can be flex, can go in support, can go in jungle, can go in the off lane. So right now, they're keeping those cards very close to their chest.
They're keeping their options open. They're trying not to give away too much in terms of their strategy, but it will have to start coming together sooner or later. Murdoch will be the option for the carry role. We saw just how potent that can be from Phoenix in that last series. We're facing down a Neon here in mid, with Nexar's last pick of the first half. It looks like, well, I would imagine they want to try and round out this dual lane as well.
Yeah, I'd expect a carry, but instead it's going to be the Mako, so they're going to get that support confirmed in. Been a very strong pick so far in the EU scene. This does confirm Rampage into the jungle, most likely. Could be a Rampage off lane that has existed in the past, but either way, I am surprised they didn't go for the carry here. I would expect that to be picked up just to make sure that Baguette couldn't ban that pull away, but I guess that's also the same for the side of Nexar. However, Victor, you can go in off lane, can go in the support. There's nothing else you can really ban there. I feel like the Bale ban is a little bit wasted. I would have liked to see more mid lane bans.
Sure, Yurei will be the response, and maybe, who knows, maybe this is Nexar showing the ultimate flex, Neon support, Mako mid. We've seen it before, we've casted it before, the Mako. Don't look at me like that. We in fact have Gideon taken away from Baguette as well in the mid lane, still trying to limit these mage options away from the French team, who still have one ban left. Plenty of opportunities to target ban away for carries, but no picks, no bans taken away from Nexar in terms of that carry role. Grux, the last ban here from the French.
Yeah, just making sure the off-lane potential is lower. So this kind of confirms to me that Krang or Richter is in that off-lane. It doesn't mean that Drake Dan is going to resort to the Acheron. I think that's totally fine. If it is the Richter Acheron lane, we saw how that went last game. They should be okay on the side of Nexar, and Acheron is just a stronger hero the later the game goes on as well. So we have the last two picks coming in from Team Baguette. That's a crunch. That kind of confirms that Richter is going to be in the support role. We still have the mid lane to go through, but really Krang Crunch, they kind of interflect, but it is most likely Krang jungle Crunch solo, do you think, or Crunch off lane?
I normally tend to see Crunch going into that off lane. I think Kwang has a overall stronger presence in the jungle. I think I'll ask you though, who has the better matchup into Acheron?
Oh, I don't really know.
Or is it Countess off lane?
That's got to be Countess
Throw
mid.
everything
That
in
has
the
to be
bin.
Countess mid. Please, for the love of God, make sure that Countess
Is it?
mid. I think the
Is
Crunch
it?
off lane is, yes, it is. I will confirm it is because it is. I might agree. I think Crunch off lane is stronger into Acheron. You have more chances to stop the ultimate. You have a lot more healing as well. Krang is more of that kind of poke potential, which Acheron can heal up. Crunch can keep that consistent DPS up a lot better in the Acheron, and Krang, I think the gank potential is a lot stronger as well. So I expect that is where Team Baguette is going on. Baguette, the last pick, that is going to be the Drongo. And I really like this pick because of two reasons. First, the Gag Grenade. There is 4 melee heroes on the side of Team Baguette. That silence is going to be very, very strong. It's just put it at your feet. Make sure they can't use abilities, especially Crunch and Countess. And the other one is the Shrapnel Cannon. Having that CC, the self-escape, and that CC immunity as well, means that any sort of dive is going to be a lot harder on to this Drongo. And then you add it onto a Mako, it is a very strong lane.
Well, one of these two teams will have to walk away victorious, just like our victorious bundles, which you can find in the store right now. I'm going to ask TJ over on the desk, what's your favorite victorious skin?
Blazy throw me an absolute wildcard question out of nowhere. I'm going to go for my introduction and say, hey, it's TJ. That's still Tang with TNT. Guys, like, oh, no, victorious bundle skin, honestly. That Kira one, I think, is probably going to be my favorite. I really like the Kira one. Let's go to say. Tang, what's your favorite?
Say the golden one. Yeah, I like
the
golden one.
Yeah, 100%.
That's the great one.
Anyway, thank you, Blazy. Thank you, Falcon. And we are TNT Cast. We got Nexar versus Team Baguette. And honestly, Tang, going from that first series that we saw on broadcast, we're expecting this one to be another fun one over here on the main channel.
And I don't think it's gonna be one way or the other. I was actually thinking about who I'm favoring in this one, but I think it's pretty even across the board. Nexar and Team Baguette, the Frenchmen against the Germans, and Swordies mixed up together in one team. This is gonna be a banger match, and yeah, from the picks as well, I think these are two compositions that sort of are pretty basic, I think, in what they want to execute, and I like this after our previous set.
It's definitely that ease of execution. We've got very, quite obvious ways that we want to play around here. A lot of kind of setup. We got pick potentials here. A lot of long range stuns. Again, Riplashes on the board. Things like the boulder toss, the rampage going into the jungle this time around. Of course, I have been seeing it on that supporting role. So a little bit of a mix up here of the hero picks for sure there. But let's talk about the plays as well. I think, Tang, one I want to start with, because we had the pleasure of casting it, of course, going for Nexar, right? Mentor. Breakout star coming in of Nations League. It's great to see him here on the main channel once again.
Yeah, Mentor does it all. Started as the mid laner, now swapped over to offlane for the most part. Known for his Zabrak, but of course he has many strengths, so I think that is the prime side is actually going to be where Team Baguette wants to play for. I think it's also a winning matchup into the Acheron. It does flip a tiny bit the longer the game goes. Acheron just so much mobility, but I think he is going to suffer at least in the early game. We can see with those trades coming in already, he is feeling very aggressive on that side. Sharka also starting on the blue side, so at least creating the option for a gank early.
Definitely got that potential. I want to see how this one wants to be played out. Striker get down as well. Another really highlight player for me as well in that off lane. You can already see Predecessor moving over here. Wanted to go for that little early cheese gank, but no blinks are going to be burned this early on. Predecessor still sticking around, but signs of some shenanigans afoot in the right-hand side.
This is actually now completely disgusting for Mentor. Like, his wave is pushing into the Acheron, the Quang is pathing away from the off lane, and the Rampage is on the red side. So honestly, this is something where I would advise the Rampage, drop the red buff. You don't care about the jungle, you just make sure that the off lane is in your favor, which would be the easiest thing for him to do at this stage.
I mean, if it's just a bit of a trap setting it up there, you can get a really good boon there towards that towards the off lane side. It could be eyes on what Tims is going to be doing there on that Rampage support there. But of course, you can see that lane already pushed up. You see Mentor still very low. Drickydan still very healthy on here. Mentor, buddy. Hope I've not cast a curse you. I think he knows something is up though. The Spidey sense kind of tingling for him. Hovering around. Boldertoss going to go over the wall, and he's going to take the long way out. But he's still alive.
Look at the wave. So many minions. Drickydan, he's just gonna be able to shove those minions out of the turret range. Mentor hits the Cyan buff, but honestly, the longer he delays his recoil, the worse it's gonna get for him. I don't even think getting the Cyan is worth it at all for him, unless he actually does go for a cheeky stay. But the Rampage still on the right side. Tims could play spoiler, but also on the recoil. So Crunch able to at least stabilize his lane. It looked a bit dire there, but Tims not going for the instant gank. Saved Mentor's lane there.
I guess this is the power that we have with that spectator camp. For sure here, we can just see everyone on the map and knowing, oh my word, it's Mentor actually walking into another trap if Tims goes for that return gank, but naturally not. Everyone resets, and for the side of Team Baguette, it seems that everyone also resets there. Talk about team synergy, but all complete team-wide recalls being channeled here back on the map. Still 0-0, we've got some seedlings born here, trying to give an opportunity for some of these teams to fight time. But let's look across the rest of the team now. I want to talk about this mid lane.
Yep.
Sure, here you got McCall versus iShaka as well, where I believe Shaka, bit of a higher rated French mid laner, if I'm correct in saying as well. Not seen him on the main stage, Tang. What do we know about him?
Well, he is pretty good. I can tell you that. Like, he likes to play those carry picks, whether it is something like the counters in the mid lane, or whether it's, I don't know, a carry themselves, right? Or in the jungle, something like a Seraph. Just likes to have those high impact plays. We see that with the counters being picked up as well. Seedlings being traded out. Our EU guys, they are reliable when it gets to keeping the game basic, to allow us to explain the stakes, to explain how these teams like to play. And CJ, I can appreciate that.
For sure. I mean, especially when we have such a very volatile lane. I mean, we did see on that earlier set as well what this Neon can do when in the hands of a great player. The burst damage is just completely obscene when this Neon is able to get online. But, you know, very much equally into the eyes of the counters. It's a very volatile lane. I mean, could we potentially see support rotations try and impact it a little bit more? I know I'm Predecessor, not going to be able to do much. He's got to take a reset.
Yeah, getting forced out of the 2-camp. I think he still got it though, but Blink still invested to make it to safety. I think one more thing to note in the mid lane is counters really a scaling champion. So the longer the game goes, the stronger this hero will get. But on the other side, we have the Neon pick up the Cyrus. So actually something we usually associate with the carry role, trying to be as strong in the late game as well. Paradise, no blink up, no tether available either, and they want it.
The body blocking coming out of Tims is fantastic, and he will get that first blood inside of the jungle. And still pushing forward, but it seems that Billa is able to get to safety at least here. Next to get the wards down inside our red side jungle and move back.
Yeah, and Fangtooth just spawned, so this is a perfect window for Nexa to not only get the first blood on the Quang, but also secure this important first Fangtooth objective of the game. Increases those buff durations, whether it's the red buff, the blue buff, or even the prime itself. That is just such an important one to get. We also did see a lot of fighting in the mid lane. The counters taking quite bad trades, but that is just how the matchup goes. Neon in the early game really good at poking the counters, but as long as she does not die, she is smiling in this matchup.
Absolutely got that poke, and also with the bad trades, just giving another layer of that safety means that the counters can't try and play spoiler inside of the Fangtooth pit. But I said though, Tangna with Shaka, going to be a bit of a tough start in the early games. Probably not expecting Team Baguette to maybe get their hands around the collars of this game immediately out of the doors early. They just want to have the game maybe brew a little bit more, maybe look towards that mid game, maybe look towards that mini prime fight, which has at least spawned there at the 7-minute marks. Options, Tang. Options.
The mini prime should be an option for Team Baguette. You gotta think, right? There's still a bit of an advantage in Mentor's pockets. It's about 300 gold, about one component up to Drakiga Dan at the moment on that Acheron, but it's just so awkward, right? The Quang falling beforehand, not having the blink up. He is behind a bit in terms of farming as well with those earlier invades as well, and Rampage is just such an annoying champion to play against. So at the moment, Nexa really heavily in control of the game. The scoreline doesn't really reflect it, but I think when you look at how the map is being played, where those champions are, you don't think that the Quang has many avenues to look for ganks at the moment.
It is kind of crazy, right? You know, just that very slight loss of tempo here in the upper echelons of the Predecessor competitive scene is just punished so well by a team of Nexar. It's like, they get already hampered by Paradise and not being able to get involved, so to speak, here. So eyes going to be on Quang, you know, how he's able to get back into this one. I mean, and what do you think his options are going to be?
Well, I mean, it's about playing around this crunch. The crunch, we could see it beforehand, denied a lot of minions away from Drakiga Dan. That matchup is going to get worse and worse for Dan. The longer the game goes, we can see it on the minimap. Rotation towards the mid lane, fighting on the left side as well. They want to make this scrappy.
It's quite a force here. I mean, that Shadow Slip has already came out there with a rotation. So it's going to lead Leppen back over to the river. He's going to be on towards Ishaka, who is able to get away. Looks of things keeping their life, but early rotation coming in from Nexar, so you can kind of see the game plan, just trying to destabilize that Team Baguette foundation and kind of relish in what they cause.
Yeah, they got 2 blinks out of it, but honestly, it's also the only thing Drakiga Dan can do, because the right side is kind of on fire. That is the only lane that Paradise can play around on this Quang. Dan almost half the CS of the crunch at the moment. Just very strong laning coming in. The rest of the lanes relatively even. We don't see the biggest gold leads opening up, but the first Fangtooth, of course, is really important to get for Nexa in this game. No mini prime traded out. We can just see the junglers staring into each other's souls, throwing abilities, not hitting anything, just having a jolly time.
I gotta say, after the absolute madness of yesterday's European games, I'm glad that we're kind of back to our regularly scheduled broadcasting here. 1-0, 9.5 minutes in. A lot of zoning, a lot of moving around, kind of prodding, poking here, seeing if anyone's going to overstay their welcome. I do kind of feel bad for Drakiga Dan. I say Tag. He's not got a home really in the solo lane, so he's got to pick up scraps when the Mentor is able to push it down. But here's Paradise at least on that right hand side of the map. Then you're looking towards the mini map, you can just see how much this Acheron is suffering at the moment, but still eyes on the jungle. Bit tense on the right hand side.
Yeah, so at the moment, both junglers just wasting time, honestly, just staring at the offlaners, just thinking, okay, surely the enemy jungler is gonna do a play, and I'm gonna be the hero saving my guy, but no, of course, both
classic
of them
main
just...
character syndrome, yeah?
Yeah, for sure. Thinking about, do I want to hit this big purple buff, but neither one of them are really feeling up to the challenge so far. The rest of the lanes, the dual lane, we haven't really had time to talk about, but it's very heavily in favor of Nexa so far. They are able to control the wave, have this ranged Mako support that it makes it just so easy to make sure that the minions crash where they want them to crash. We see those resets coming in. We see the next set of objectives spawning as well. This Fangtooth might be something that Team Baguette wants to take, especially since the mini prime starts it up by tips.
Has got at least a bit of a window, the way crushing under Mentor, so he's got to deal with it. What's that off lane? Jacko pushing forward inside the river. They should know about this one, but 4 members of the Nexar team are in the vicinity. They will be able to secure this, giving it over towards the mini prime, and Paradise are nowhere around, but mini prime is secured, going over to Makor. And now if they could take down Mentor as well, Tang, one of these shining lights for the side of Team Baguette, this could be a good pickup here. The blink does come out. Makor trying to utilize all the bonus stats from that mini prime, and there's just no way for this crunch to go. He's got 3 players in his lane. He ain't happy about that one.
Oh, that's just a disaster play. We saw the overloading on the left side, so it's like, okay, Mini Prime traded for the Fang Tooth, but no, Quang resets. They don't get anything for it. We saw the Murder blink at the end on the left side as well, so they're losing stuff everywhere, only getting 2 plates in the mid lane, but an entire tier 1 is gonna fall in this off-lane side that was supposed to be the strength of Team Baguette. Finally, the Fang Tooth started up. Rampage a bit further behind, not having the Behemoth up. I am not sure if they want to contest this.
Team Baguette still going for it though. Fang Tooth down to 2. Sims is going to go in towards the pit. Eyes onto the top of your screens, but notice the hunt is going to come out. Team Baguette are going to secure it for themselves here. Now Fight's trying to get out to the pit though. Tims is still around the rumble, able to land that damage. Paradisa taken out to the fight. Virez will be the next target, but it's just nowhere to get away as Nexar leader Leppen double kill on towards the Drongo. 4 kills go for the side of Nexar overall.
Well, they just can't get rid of the Rampage. It seems like 1.5 items deep, still too tanky for them to do anything to him. They get the Fang Tooth, but at what cost? The exit frags, just fantastic out of Nexar, and that leaves them with a big tempo advantage as well. We can see it on the minimap, right? The Neon getting taken to the mid lane, Lederlappen and Sloan's getting some on the left side, and Team Baguette, they kept it even in the early game. It was a very slow start of the game, but it looks like they're really putting on the pressure now mid lane.
I mean, Mentor just absolutely wailing onto McCall at the moment. Was able to get back to safety. Tims arriving on the scene. Shaka pushing forward. Able to get Mentor in towards his red side. And Tims don't really want to fight as well. Just more than happy to poke out. Paradisa looking for a tether. Going to find out on towards McCall here. Looking for the collapse on towards the mid lane. But still, this Neon so elusive. Keep herself alive. Still throwing out the links here. Maybe Team will get overstayed their welcome. Drakigadan is on the way. So is Tims. Paradisa thinking about going towards that 2 camp over in the red side jungle. Might be punished for the invade. The consume comes out from Drakigadan, pushes him away. Blink out from Paradisa. Double tether connects. Might be enough to get him to safety. Tims still on the hunt, on the warpath. Not going to get the escape. This Paradisa. Now Mentor's got dealing with one of his 2. Shaka helping out, which can Blade Simon. All of the counter abilities on towards Tims, who's still alive. Long arm of the Lord. Not going to find the mark either. It's Team Baguette losing 2 in that play.
Sloan's on a rotation towards the mid lane as well. If Shaka is not careful, this might be another one, but should have the fancy movement to make it out alive. But yeah, Nexar winning it all in these team fights. Not even the 2 camp can be traded out, as the Quang is the target of the big rotations coming in out of Nexar. Those are some interesting items I saw in this one, DJ. I saw the Quang actually with that Time Flux band trying to use that to decrease the cooldowns. Usually if you see an AP jungler, if you see somebody that builds magical power in the jungle, you usually expect him to go for that stasis that grants them the chance to smite while being golden, right? So that is one of those things where you would think that's the reason for the Quang, but no, it is going to be the Time Flux band, and so far not really able to make it work in this game.
Paradisa probably hoping that maybe that reset with the Time Flux band could maybe last a couple of minutes beforehand, just to maybe go back and redo some of those earlier moments that collapsed. There's the stasis, so we can see from McCall here. Shaka the next target. Or that final thread as the ultimate is popped. Gonna go into the air. Not gonna find the connection though. Onto Shaka, keeping themselves alive, but McCall still causing problems. Dashes forward, enhanced basic. Not gonna find the mark. Paradisa gonna catch him with the tether, and there's the Fury, and McCall finally put down.
That's an important frag, at the very least for the Mentor. Gives them that advantage in the river control. No objectives up to be taken. Shaper just spawned, but I don't think that is a viable target. Shaka low HP as well. Virez just making sure that he's able to walk it back, but on the left side, it's just the Drongo bullying the Murdoch mid lane. Could be a gank. Richter
in the trouble here as the stuns from both the Rampage and the Mako are going to connect here. Doesn't look like much of a way out. Blink is still available, so is the ultimate. Tims and Sloan's deciding not to be over aggressive against a Richter underneath the tower with the entire kit still available. They will back away. Mentor able to get a bit of an invade down in towards the red side jungle. Still signs life from Team Baguette, but are very much the team playing on the back foot here as we're approaching that mid game. 60 minutes on the clock. We have a mini primer on the way up. Fangtooth as well. 4 moments ago, Paradiso, another good tether. This Quang starting to find some value here, but Leader Leopard able to stand the ground. Stones here, strike, combines the stuns perfectly, and Billow's the one who's going to drop. Leader Leopard is just able to freak out onto these fights, and Tim's in that tiny Titan Rampage. Able to jump down, the Whiplash goes over the head of the shortened Rampage, and the Leader Leopard allowing to once again get another multi-kill. That's 4-0-2 for the Drongo.
And Team Baguette finds the play when there's no objectives up, and Nexa just hard commits when the Fangtooth just spawns. That's the beauty of it, right? It's not only 3 kills, it's 3 kills plus the Fangtooth. It's 3 kills plus the perfect transition into the mini prime if they want it, right? That is always what you should look out for. So really impressed by the team play out of Nexa so far in this game. Second Fangtooth picked up. That extra out of combat movement speed is gonna feel fantastic when you're chasing down those Team Baguette members. But yeah, at the moment, just look a bit lost on the map.
For sure here. It's not really much for Team Baguette fans to really get excited about at the moment. Bit of heavy trading nodes towards the right-hand side. Mentor with that tower finally being taken down. We've got the power of the spectator camera. We know members are on the way. That's a blink forward. Crunch out from Mentor. Gift, though, will land from Sloans. And Mentor's got no way out of this one. It's just so easy by the side of Nexa, immediately looking straight over for a mini prime take.
Yeah, this mini prime shouldn't be contestable. Maybe a time flux band together with the hunt could seal the deal. But yeah, mini prime should be secured. Left side traded out for the tier 1. Remember, no platings available any longer. So that is a lot less gold, a lot less efficiency as it was before this 14-minute mark. Shaper, the next objective to be taken. Nexa with a slow early game, but they're really upping the pressure here.
And they're not exactly doing anything particularly fancy or flashy, it's got to be said here. It's just grouping up at the right times, playing for objectives. It's picking the mid lane to Fangtooth, picking the 2 picks in the solo lane has resulted in 2 mini primes. It's just really good, solid foundational play from your side on Dawn.
Yeah, I really love this out of them. Take the next tier 1. We see Leader Leopard with the mini prime on him, so he's gonna be a bit safer now that he had to invest the cleanse beforehand. Of course, still has the blink, still has the ultimate, should be doing fine. It's about sieging those tier 2s. That's a lot of standing gold. That's 550 gold in total claimed if you're able to get it. The red buff is just an addition as well. And Team Baguette already, I mean, why not? 19 minutes in the game, hiding behind their turret lines.
I mean, you've got to maybe be forgiven if you're a Team Baguette fan, if you're a Team Baguette player, to maybe look towards game 2. With just how this game is going for Nexa, they're able to just move from the left to the right of this map with ease. And Team Baguette aren't really in any position to really contest there. They've got some very powerful picks in their locker, on their roster. But at this point here, they just seem to be too far behind. I'm not sure, though, if V-Rex can find the Whiplash, if that's just going to be his own death, if it actually one of those abilities connects this. This is just so rough for them.
And the worst thing is, there's no obvious answers while in the draft, right? There's not one overperformance for Nexa, but look at this. It's always a team play. It's always 3 members rotating. It's always the wallet difference being abused wherever they go. And it's not the one-man show as we saw in some of our other games this tournament. This is a well-oiled machine. This is a team that has been scrimming behind the scene. They have put in the work, and we can see it on the big stage. That is something we love seeing. And for Nexa, this next step in this game might be the big prime.
I mean, this is just going to be a natural take there. Your prime going to force a response from Team Baguette. Paradiso in towards the pit there. I mean, time flux plan is just not even an option there. He gets completely annihilated by the CC chain. That's going to be that's going to be the all prime take. No further contest there. Already got McCaw a bit far forward inside of the blue buff, but he's kind of just chilling up there, dealing with. Actually, he's zoning off the entire team by the looks of things there single-handedly, and he's going to keep his life there as your prime around that purple hue around the size of Nexa's shoulders.
Oh no, Nexa, they are feeling themselves mid lane. Also another dive coming in. Good mobility by Shaka, getting him to safety, but this next tier 2 is gonna fall in a second as well. The right hand side is also being taken. The crunch fighting against 2. I'm not sure if you want this.
Not again here. It's just Boulder toss in towards the Maker's Gift as well. Strike is going to land, and Sims is there just to provide that rumble. And his Titan Rampage there. Heaven Fury does come down though from Paradise. Time Flux Band going to reset some of those cooldowns, landing all the tempers, landing everything, and even getting a second bite to the cherry. But you can just see we're just way too far behind, and he's almost crowded out here. It's a double kill for Tims there. Middle inhibitor is down. Solo inhibitor about to fall as well. But I guess his time is running out, my friends.
It is running out for sure. Next thing to also about to spawn. Prime empowered recoils should make sure that Nexa are the first ones in, and we have a short break in the action to look at the scoreboard. About 12k the difference between the teams. We see those big item difference that's really opening up, right? Mentor, the one that was winning the lane out of all of them, now more than an item behind Drakiga Dan, and the rest of the lanes, of course, even worse than that. Third Fangtooth now being taken. That's 8% extra stats across the board, and Team Baguette looking for something to trade out, but not even courageous enough to make it into the vicinity of the pit.
I mean, I gotta say, maybe at this point you just kind of go for it here. I mean, what is there to lose? You miss every shot that you don't take. Parodies are looking to go in towards the pit there, but immediately take it out though. CC Chain 2 good long arm. The law comes down. Not going to result in any fancy steals there. It's just going to be a simple hunt secure. Free Fangtooth Monty in play for Nexar. Straight into red buff. Drop the wards down. And this map looking very, very small for the Team Baguette squad.
Yeah, it's just rough, right? When you're not even sure if you can contest a primal Fangtooth, then you know that this game is already a bit hard to play. Drakiga Dan against Mentor. Honestly, just making sure that the Crunch can't join the rest of the team, as Nexa is gonna start looking to end the game with the rest of the 4-man roster looking at Tims in the mid lane.
And I want to just kind of conclude this time what you said. This is a well-oiled machine, just great foundational play, moving around the map, playing so well as a team, and have got this point. They've got this lead growing here. Lead Leopard 5-0-5 on the Drongo. Barely spoken about this game, has done his job, but been the beneficiary of that gold. You can see the difference there. Such a clean, clinical victory for Nexar in game 1.
Very deserved win out of them. The early game was slow, but of course that is the perks of our region. But the ending certainly wasn't. I think that was a 23-minute game with the first kill happening at about like the 8-10 minute mark. Like, don't check me on that, but yeah, considering that, like this game was lightning fast.
Check them on that.
No.
For sure, yeah. But as I say, this is just a very much what we expect from the EU region, right? We have a slower pace early game, but then all of a sudden it's normally a fight around the objective. We look about that 6 to 8 minute mark, and then this game kind of explodes out that way. But we didn't get that fight. We just got the picks leading into the objective, and then all of a sudden, far too late for Team Baguette tag. Just before we throw this back to Blazy and Falcon on desk, I mean, the Team Baguette have got it all to do right going into game 2 here. There's a lot of kind of parts just not quite clicking. What do you think is the most important thing that needs to change?
Well, it's not the draft. I think it's just mindset. Like, maybe swap the counters if you think, but honestly, I think just mental reset, go in like it is the first game, and I think, honestly, player-wise, they should be much closer than this, so I really was not expecting a stomp like this coming in. So Team Baguette, good luck for the next one.
Just needs a mental reset. Maybe that is as simple as it is. But that's going to do it from us on game 1. I'm going to throw it back to the desk for the post-game breakdown.
Okay, we get to see that disappointed faces and the giggling laughter, but what a game from Nexar. Truly looked a cut above from their counterpart. Baguette really struggled to really get much under their belts going into game number 1 there, Falcon. Talk to me a little bit about this. Let's highlight especially these first bloods.
Yeah, I want to talk about the first blood quickly. We don't have a clip of it, but that kind of started the precedent for how these junglers came through. There was a 3-man invade onto that fight camp. They got the first blood onto the Krang, and from then, the momentum never really came back to them. It was the case of Nexar was just able to do whatever they wanted on the map, and at that point, just the XP, the gold, it wasn't in the region that Baguette could really go forward and actually help with anything in terms of gang potential, in terms of objectives. And I think that's kind of where the first kind of cut from Nexar did come through for this game.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like they really struggled from there. And I mean, we can go ahead and have a look at probably the only moment that we really have to really talk about it. It's really difficult to break down a game like that, but here's the second Fangtooth. Walk me through it.
It's the 2-0 before this happens. The Fangtooth does go the way of Team Baguette, but you see that's TMAS just survives for such a long time, allows the rest of the team to come through. And at this point, Baguette just has no damage to actually kill the Rampage, and then with the rest of the team collapsing on, they get the double kill. It goes to the point where Leatherhappen gets those gold, gets those kills, and then later on, this allows Leatherhappen to actually start becoming this. I'm not going to say Vade boss because we normally put those for the tanks, but this damage threat that could 3v1, get the tower, go to Knee Prime, get such a large gold lead. I think it was like 5,000-6,000 gold by the end of it, that it did become just an unstoppable force that Baguette had to deal with.
Untenable. A snowball, if you will, rolling down the hill. Which, you know, what else is French and white? Who knows? Something else that they could maybe be waving in... Don't look at me like... What? You keep looking at me like that. It's difficult to break down this game because Team Baguette, they just... I mean, they lost their footing early. They really struggled to come back into it. So I know that Tang kind of gave his 2 cents on this question earlier on, just a moment ago, Falcon. But if you were to diagnose an issue, what would you say needs to be the #1 remedy for Baguette going into Game 2?
I do agree with Tang that I think the draft is not an issue. The Countess, you might have been able to do something a bit more control-based in the mid lane to have a bit more of that stability. But in terms of the draft, it was fine. If anything, I would like Team Baguette to try and just accelerate this early game, try and go a bit more aggressive, because we obviously saw that Nexar is very comfortable taking that slow, going into the mid game, getting the lead from there. So let Baguette make it play a bit more like an NA game, get a few kills, make it a bit more brawly, try and see if you can get Nexar out of that comfort zone. But the most important part is that mental reset. You've lost the game. It was a stomp. Yes, let's not take anything away from that. Nexar controlled that entire game. That doesn't matter anymore. You just got to win 2 games in a row. You can do it. You know you've won games like that before. Let's just go again. We can just beat them, and we know we're good enough. That's all they need to do.
And for the record, this team, they're coming into this series with the same record as Nexar. Both of these teams are 2-1. Yeah, we can talk about the power scaling and how Nexar, the teams that they've beaten, are better in quote-unquote than the teams that Baguette has won against so far. But that doesn't stop either of these teams from making their way up through into Pinnacle. One more game separates Nexar from qualifying, whereas Baguette, they're going to need to make 2 wins back-to-back here if they want to make it through. We're waiting on the draft here for game number 2, ladies and gentlemen, but I know that we said the draft wasn't a major issue. Is there anything that we're maybe thinking could work better with Baguette's playstyle? Any different directions they might want to take it?
Again, I think the Mako is a big issue. I think that it just gives too much healing, gives too much sustain, gives too much CC. It's just a very strong support at the moment in time. I think it's worth maybe banning away. But at the moment in time, we might not see that. As we get the 2 same bans as we did last time, the Boris that taken away, the Aurora also taken away. And we'll have to see what else is followed up. The Adele ban is interesting, not because it was banned away, we expect to ban it, whatever, but it's that the fact it was banned away on the first pick potential. You would normally expect that to be banned away from Nexar in this situation, make sure it's not first picked away, and instead Nexar's going to ban away the Rampage that they played last time. Victor is available once again for Team Baguette if they do want to go for that. But instead they're going to pick the Renner that was banned away last time. This seems to be a comfort pick for them.
Yeah, I think this is a really good adaptation. Renner incredibly strong at the moment, a very powerful, potent mid laner that can be played in a lot of different ways. Nexar doing the run back, picking up Richter first in response to Baguette doing it last time around. We can talk about the same things, how it opens up all this adaptability and you can now pick around and force Baguette to try and figure out what you want to do, but namely, doing a little bit earlier, picking up this Murdoch.
And Murdoch seems to be the premium carry in this game at the moment in time. Just a very strong hero champion who does scale very strong. Osiris has long lore that does a lot of damage as well. The Steel being picked up, first time we've seen it today so far, is a very strong champion in that off lane. That's where we expect it to be. Could be in support, but I very much doubt that with the fact that Yggdrasil is just a strong pickup on this champion with items. And also the Kira. I need to see the rest of the draft before I see if this is a good or bad pick for Kira, because it does depend entirely on what you're playing around, but it does mean that your laning isn't as strong, which I think is a big issue for Team Baguette.
Well, I love this adaptation from Nexar, picking up Howitzer into the mid lane. Not only is this pick, incredibly good at this long-range poke, which Renna has some long-range options, but you have to be pretty close to get the full value off of that pulse. Howitzer, a great adaptation to that, also can meet Renna in the sky, albeit on a longer cooldown. I love this pick, and I think it works really well with what Nexa want to do. Taking away Kwang and then Yurei in that order from both of these two teams. Interesting continuation of that trend.
What's interesting as well, that both teams have picked already their carries. They've already both picked their mid laners, and I suspect their off lane as well. So they're both banning into the same champion pool at this moment in time. We can see that Wraith is that, I believe that is Wraith banned away, which is very odd. Both your mid lane and your carry has been picked up by the enemy team, so there's no real way, unless they think it's a rare support. But I think you could have probably gone for something else. The Kalari also banned away. That is the jungler once again. Yue more of an off lane pick as well. That could have been picked up if they wanted to flex. And speaking of flex, that is a Grux pick. You might be getting that Richter support.
Yeah, potentially. I do want to highlight that Wraith, so good at his job. He's invisible even on the ban screen. But Grux, you're absolutely right. We'll open up a bit more flexibility. We're now looking at this last pick for Nexar. It could be a jungler. It could be an offlaner. It could be a support. What we do know, however, is Zaris is heading over to Team Baguette.
Stop running. Stop running. Stick to the plan. No improv, no theatrics.
No! These players are doing whatever they want all the time. We need to control this.
I knew you, but I didn't know your name.
Come on! He's not even listening to me.
5 minutes.
Going down to 4. About 3. You're at 1.
I don't think that's a good idea.
Going for the win. Look at the determination on his face.
I just flipped the switch. Flip. I don't know nobody else that's doing this. Don't never stop. Don't never stop.
America, baby!
Man, this is what dreams are made of.
Is David's backyard ready for the FIFA World Cup? Maybe he'll build it like Beckham. Paint it like Patricia.
Flip it like Rich.
Plant it like Paige.
Or watch it all happen just like Josh.
Very happy to help.
Endless Shrimp is back because you've been asking a lot, and we made it happen. Pick 3 to start, then mix it up endlessly. Walt's favorite shrimp.
Endless.
Garlic shrimp scampi.
Endless.
Shrimp linguine Alfredo.
Endless.
And new Marry Me Shrimp.
All endless.
Endless Shrimp is back by popular demand. But hurry, Endless can't last forever. Only for a limited time. Only at Red Lobster.
Thank Thank you for calling Billy. What are we shaving today?
Oh, alert, shave blade.
Glides like a dream. Smoothness confirmed.
Dolphin, smooth.
No slip grip.
Stunning. Exquisite. Perfection.
Changes. We got some role swaps. Take us through it, Tag.
Yeah, I mean, it's I can make it really quick or I can make it slow. The quick one is Paradise is the only one playing the same role in Team Baguette. The longer one is, of course, that we are gonna have Shaka on carry. A lot of people would have probably expected him to be there from the get-go. Villa in the support role. We're gonna have Mentor swapping over to the mid role, and we are gonna have V-Reds on that off lane, of course. So a lot of question marks coming into this. I like this quite a bit more than the previous one. I think Shaka is probably better in the carry role. I also know Mentor used to come from the mid role. That's where he really made his name. So I'm expecting very much out of them. Let's hope if they can prove me right or not. One big thing, TJ, I already want to mention why we have the tapestry in is this Renner. Is that an Idrisil I'm seeing?
It is. It's an Idrisil pickup there in the Eternal slot. I think that's the howitzer there. I mean, that is one that's giving you kind of increased physical and magical armor whilst you are above the max health. But I guess maybe dealing with the howitzer poke, I suppose. This could also just be a misclick on the Eternal slot. I don't know, but Tang, what are your thoughts there?
Well, I mean, he starts with HP as well, so I think this is just going to be an orb of growth, tanky Renner.
Okay.
We've seen it before. We haven't really seen the Eternal come out, though. So I'm interested to see what the Frenchies have cooked up in this one. I certainly hope this one is going to be a bit closer than the previous one at the very least. But yeah, the early game was slow in the first one as well. Let's just see how the mid-game progresses from there.
I just want to kind of go on to what Falcon was saying on the desk as well, is that he was really worried about this early game for the side of Team Baguette if they were able to get through it there. So possibly they're the ones hoping for maybe the slower early game in that situation.
I mean, it certainly can be the case, but honestly, I don't think it's as clear-cut as that, right? It's not like Team A wants a slow game. I think it's just dependent, right? Falcon was highlighting this left-hand side, this dual lane, that is just gonna get pushed under the turret this entire game. The Steel and the Kira not having much wave clear. The Maker and Murdoch so strong at controlling the wave, so that's always gonna be one spot where they have the advantage. Looking at the mid lane, though, good rotation coming in from Paradise.
Look for that play on towards McCaw. Goes down in towards the river. That's the blink and the evade utilized. McCaw responds with a blink of himself. That's a successful gang for Paradisa there. Fair enough start there, trying to just relieve a bit of pressure on Mentor in the mid lane.
Oh yeah, that's super important, right? Getting the blink out early. No level 6 has been raged. The How is always awkward to gank once he has that make it rain, but obviously that is quite a few minutes away. So that leaves open the chance of a regank and makes it so much harder for him to stay in the lane against the Renner right hand side as well. But more trading, Drakiga then not having much mana. That is the big upside for V-Raz, but look at the minimap.
He's got Tim's on the way over on that Grux. See if he's going to utilize that blink though, but a good Riplash coming in from Ricky Dan, and blink to follow up and also to make way. Gets Resist away. Now Paradisa on the way over. Tim's a little bit too healthy. Drakika Dan already on the retreats. Gotta say though, Tang, Paradisa definitely be in the right place at the right time. Much better start for the Baguette jungler.
Yeah, I like this out of him, right? There's not many spots where the Grux can actually be. So I respect him. Walking over to the right-hand side. The Greystone waiting a bit too long with the blink in my mind, because obviously if the Grux just blinked after him instead of going for the pull, would have been able to catch him out right there. So lucky that that is how the cookie crumbled for sure. But we see a lot of blinks already invested, not a lot of kills, but I'm liking the idea out of the junglers, right? Try to focus the lanes that sort of have the highest chance of really giving them a good result. Richter showcasing the strength of this character at the moment, why people love to play him in the solo lane at the moment.
Just really boxing out V-Res as well. And so long as Draki is able to hit those rip lashes, he's going to be I was going to say fully smiling, really,
Mid-lane.
in this situation. Mid lane collapsed, though, on towards Mentor. Be careful, goes in towards the sky. Mentor's going to land, blinks as well in mid-air, but he's not able to get from the smash and grab. Good pick there. Paradisa arrives in the nick of time, but not in time to save Tim's, though. First blood picked up by that Grux inside of the mid lane, and no further kills. Paradisa can't do anything more.
Oh, Tim's was so clean with that pull right there. Just took his time, knew exactly what the Renner wants to do, and punished accordingly afterwards. The Ceres in the right spot again, TJ, but he is very reactive in the way he's approaching this. Of course, doesn't have much time as well, because he's responding to every play, but that leaves him unable to make his own. Renner punished in the mid lane, a few platings secured for the howitzer.
That's going to be so good for Makor as well. Know what can happen when that howitzer is able to get online as this game goes on. It's a Lotus howitzer as well, so going to be enjoying the takedowns, and hopefully if for the side of Nexo they're able to keep up the kill counts from their first game, the Lotus pickups on Dan on Makor as well. Gonna be feeling pretty good. Mentor now getting a bit of a double gang coming his way. Tim's able to head them off inside of the red jungle. We'll look to try and get away from this one. Able to glide past one, smash and grab. Throws down the essence here. V-Res also on the way over there, but there's just no way out for Mentor, and he gets hacked down, and Grux is going to Grux all over them. Now on the attention towards Rez is good landmine, immediately jumping away. Gets the Greystone to safety, but it's Mentor dropping once more.
And look on the left side. It's not the Fang who starts it up. He is going for a gank, but he's on vision this entire way. It's going to be the Maker and the Murdoch not stepping up. This time was wasted. The entire red side given over to the Grux. You're not really able to get much in return. And no camp taken for Paradise. He walks back to the blue buff, but the second he makes it to his red side, he is going to be very disappointed.
Some very sad Zaros noises. They was able to be in the right place, right time, though. Over in a solo lane. Another gang coming in from Tim's. We've got that Stonefall Soul coming out from V-Rex. At least jump. Trying to get towards safety. Crush comes out from Tim's. Gonna look for another smash and grab. Double Pain will connect. Still moving forward. Paul is gonna land. And there's no blink. There's no ultimate available. Just ticking down. The damage over time enhanced by the Marrow is just too much. And Tim's gets yet another kill.
Fighting on the dual side as well. No kills happening, and the Ceres just on that side of the map the entire time. Still not starting up the Fang Tooth. Still not getting anything in return. And no blink even invested by Sloans and Lederlappen that are just able to tank all of this attention for nothing. Fang Tooth finally started up, but look at the level bars. Level 6 reached by the Grux, and the Ceres has to run away.
Has to back out here. Smash and grab not going to connect on towards Paradisa. Still sticking around in the pit. It's down to 2k. Next, I know they just need to not aggro the Fang Tooth. Take down Paradisa. Wheeler is here, level 5. There's no shield slam for this play either. Just being beaten by the levels as Tim secures the Fang Tooth. And says thank you for the leash. Mentor stumbles into a stasis trap. Takes the buckshot. Takes the death. And it's going from bad to oh so worse for Team Baguette. Makor gets a triple kill at the Fang Tooth pit.
Oh, they are crumbling at the moment. Team Baguettes, they are not finding anything on the map. The beginning was promising by them, but once more, it's just not enough. Shaka caught as well. Lederlappen getting this one more frag just to make the pain even worse for them. Look at all of these minions denied away from them. The game already 8 minutes in the game slipping away from them.
Gotta think though, for the side of Baguette, like we've got the late game, we've got the Renner, we've got the Kira, we just need to get them to that point. That point just seems an eternity away. Game once more in danger of slipping out of their control once more. And I gotta say, what I said in game number 1, Tango, is that Nexo are not actually doing anything flashy at all here. Just playing around the team comp, playing as that well-oiled machine that you call, and it's just carrying over into this game 2 performance.
5k the gold lead, 8 minutes in. This is a train wreck as we see the Team Baguettes just getting rolled all over the place. Next objective starts it up around the Prime. Ceres hovering in the mid lane, but at this point the Maker enough to dissuade Paradise from making any plays on that side of the map. They're just finding value wherever they go. One objective, one kill at a time.
Moving forward to look to maybe contest the exit frags from this mini prime pit. Secured though by Tim. Smash and grab lands on towards Paradiso. Just walks into a wall. Slammed in his face. There's nowhere for the Zaros to go. And now pushing forward. Got Tim's able to get that damage over time. Procs on so many members there. And to simply reposition. And this allows the rest of the team to arrive. Now also, I've got the Mako. Sloan's arriving on the scene. And forget, I noticed members kind of in this melee here, but I'm not seeing health bars dropping at all. Just dealing no damage to this team on Dusk, and this warpath continues a siege onto the mid lane.
Mentor not even having the first item complete yet, so he is just dealing no damage whatsoever to this Grux that has his number with the mini prime. We're looking at behind those turrets, getting zoned away from the tier 1. This should be the tier 1 falling with all plating secured on the minimap. We're witnessing the Murdoch opening up this dual sides turret as well, and yeah, I mean, it's Rexer just understanding their strengths, leveraging this Grux in the early game and just finding so much value.
I mean, Tim is making this Grux seem like, it's like, why are we just not first picking this Grux, honestly? I mean, the hands of a team that's ahead. Every hero looks so good in these situations, but it's just coming down to good fundamentals. Need to take the mid lane, go to the seedlings, just make sure there's no stone left unturned. Every recall, getting the maximum amount of value. No time is being wasted here. This is just dealing again in the off lane. But look at that, it's just not taking, Drucky Dan's taking no damage in any of these trades.
Yeah, I mean, just look at the Graystone's items, right? Not a single one completed yet, so obviously he is gonna get hard stomped by the Richter that is already on his way to the second one, and that is not a position you want to be in as the Greystone. Richter should be able to secure at least one more plating, maybe the entire turret, as we have a bit of a tap screen, sort of witnessing the sites in front of us. Around the team, I'm just gonna say it's about 7.5k being the gold lead, and that is at 11 minutes in, that must be one sort of record in this game.
I mean, it feels like we're just kind of, you know, beating a man when he's down there, Paradiso. But I think the difference in the jungle really speaks volumes for sure here. Tier 1 tower, plating's gonna drop there. There's another pick up there for the Leopard and Sloan's. Bila taking stuns here, but this tower is gonna drop very, very quickly here. I think for Shaka and Bila either they go for the play, go for the engage. That's exactly what Bila does. Shield Slam will come down on towards leader Leopard and try everything, throw whatever they can, but there's nothing left, and there's a response from Sloan's. Dual lane is down. This tower is soon gonna follow.
I mean, just no way to fight this in the 2v2. Yes, you draft the hero steal in order to be able to do exactly this, but not if you have half the gold as your opposing carry lane. That's an easy tier 1 secured. That also leaves the road open for the Fang to be started up immediately. Grux, in the meanwhile, was able to farm up really well. Does not even need to impact his lanes anymore. That's just the one objective after the other. Paradise so might be looking for the steal.
Not gonna find it. I mean, they can't even really walk into the pit though, to be honest. I mean, it's quite alarming to me though, is that normally when we see plays around any of these neutral objectives, right, there is kind of a build up to it, right? You've got the wards being dropped down, you've got kind of the preparation. Dual lane just kind of walked over there and starts at the Fang Tooth. They just know it's kind of free, and I think that speaks volumes.
I mean, that is the perks of having a dual lane that just 2v2 carries the opponents, right? Like, if there's no dual lane remaining anymore, then that is the natural thing to do. That is the natural progression, as it is with the T1 falling on the right, as it is with Renna falling in the mid lane as well. Good ganks coming in from Tims once more. Renna trying to buy herself a more time. Blink invested, so was the ultimate. Should be able to be behind enemy lines. We can see it on the minimap. I'm confused just looking at this.
I mean, we're just kind of swapping around there. Great landmine from McCall there. Into stun, Whiplash. What more do you want from me, buddy? I'm not gonna lie. Ouch, I think is the word I will throw there. But it carries on in the mid lane. Colosseum thrown down by Paradiso, looking for a stack. Not gonna find it as McCall just finds yet another multi-kill. 2 more kills into pocket. Stoneforge Soul comes out from Rez's strike though onto 2. Beautiful combination with the long arm, the law over the top, and Baguette crumbling, being ruined inside of the mid lane. It's a double kill for Drekkie and Dan, and a full ace for the Baguette team.
That was a beautiful team fighting. They just catch them all. A big skewer coming out of Drakiga Dan, catching 2 of them and making sure to not only secure the tier 2 in the mid, but also on this left-hand side of the Murdoch, picking that one up. And so, of course, the first one falling in this overall engagement, a full team vibe. 14 minutes in the game. Shaper about to spawn. I think that is going to be the next objective, TJ.
I mean, it goes Shaper, they get those seedlings in, all the lanes constantly pushing, make sure Baguette just can't get anywhere near the pit. It's just very natural kind of progression. We're just very much going through the motions right on that flow chart here. We're 0-16 at this point here, approaching the 15 minutes. And I gotta say, I gotta throw this one to you here. Are we on the cusp of a perfect game, right? We've got no neutrals drop, no towers dropped yet,
true.
And no one down.
Wait, actually, it's even worse than that, TJ. It's not a single plating down either. So it might actually be an actual perfect game. But of course, let's not overreact quite yet. There's always an option for an upset to still happen. This game, even though it looks pretty over, there is still a chance for the team Baguettes to walk it back. Try and start it up. Remember, this is the mini prime. We're only 15 minutes in the game. Yes, if you look at the minimap, you might not believe me when you see those tier 2 turrets being down, but that is the case at the moment. Shaper hasn't been secured before. That one is still on the map.
Still available to them. They get able to push forward. They're kind of just getting as much farm as they can, right? It's not really seeing a desperation plays coming out here. It's just getting the scraps that kind of left over from Nexar here. Let's see what happens when the dual lane pushes up once more. Shaka Blink comes out. R2000 did a third of this Kira's health bar. Drinking it down, using that skewer. Bila with the blink, just taking down some of these weapons to make it rain coming over the top. They into towards the shield slam. It lands onto no one. McCall just follows it through. Stasis comes out to avoid most of the Renner ultimates. That means Shaka is down. A mentor. Next one left. Colosseum comes out from Paradisa as well. Looking for this pick though, but fighting caught on side of the terrain there. That's a double for drinking it down once more. Mentor a blink away, trying to escape this Richter. Maybe looking to get to the arc shot. Not gonna find it. A triple for drinking it down. 3 are gonna drop here. That's 4 in total once again, but nearly get aced once more.
Oh, and I'm so happy for Nexar, I'm gonna be honest, TJ. This is the big stage, right? We are on the main Predecessor channel. They are playing out of their minds right now. It is every single one of them dominating their lanes, showing off what they have learned in all of this practice runs leading up to this tournament. And now they are knocking on the base of Baguettes. Looks like they still have the mini prime up as well. They could be looking for more respawns coming in, though. They don't want to risk anything. Just backing off. Fangtooth is gonna be this next objective spawning.
This will be that free Fangtooth Monty, just to make sure to kind of like really be the final nail in this coffin. The 8% offensive and defensive stats that we talk so much about how important it is for everyone. Tim's just missed on a blast flower, I think, there, just went straight into the wall. But there's the crush, bit of Grux tech, get over in towards the pit. Now Parodies are on the way over. You've got Mentor in support. Also got there, but Drinking down hits a good Riplash though onto the priority target. The only one that could have stolen it gets picked off as Drinking it down goes fishing again.
I think all of the damage was through the barricade. That was through an 80% or so damage reduction buff on that Ceres. He just does not care. The Skewer connects the hook, and then all the follow-up damage by the rest of the squad. Picking up the Fangtooth, picking up the jungler, picking up the seedling, the Shaper, getting those seedlings to push down these lanes. This might be an opportunity for them to already look for the end. 2 more minutes for the prime to spawn. I don't think Nexar wants to wait this long.
I mean, there's got to be a bit point here. I'm just thinking of that Immortal Simpsons kind of reference there. Stop, they're already dead at this point here. Probably looking for an opportunity. They're still hunting around there. I mean, they could delay. They could wait for the old prime and almost go for the kill. But at this point here, like, if we have a look at the scoreboard, I kind of want to see what is the goal difference right now between all these teams. There's got to be multiple thousands between each of these lanes here. We're definitely in double figures. Yeah, about it's 3 or 4k across the board here. That's got 18, 19,000 in favor of Nexar right now. This could definitely be an end angle. They could just put this one out, take this one out straight away.
Oh yeah, for sure. They should be able to get the inhib on the right side. We can see it fold right now, and that is going to be this seedling from the right side walking down the base, and Billa has to do it all here.
I'll do it all. The rest of the team, minions on the core, but it's Nexar looking for that perfect game. If they can just take down the core, no one dropping. Res is going low. That's going to be mental dropping. The purge comes out though. Everything thrown in towards this base defense there. But look at how boss not dropping in the slices. Nexar are still 5 members strong. Shaka got nothing left. Ace as Team Forget lose all members. 26-0, sub 20 minutes. Perfect game from Nexar on the main channel.
That felt personal. What have we just witnessed? Remember, those were 2 teams coming in with a 2-1 score line. 2 teams that were hoping to bring everything today to show off on the main broadcast, but it was only Nexar being there today. Absolutely phenomenal game. No big standout players in my mind, just a standout team. Everyone performed perfectly. I think in the second game, Tim's might be my choice for MVP though, because he on the Grux, he looked deadly.
Absolutely lethal performance there from the jungle. And then just kind of like, I feel like we need to have like maybe MVPs for this team kind of in different stages, right? I mean, Tim's kind of dictating tempo very early on. McCaw inside of the mid lane as well, multiple kills on that Howard. So I think my MVP pick as the game went on, probably Dreki Gadan as well on that Richter. The riplashes. I mean, you just see what happened, that hook onto Paradisa through that barricade DR. Just absolutely nothing. Complete performance from the side of Nexar there. Very positive going into this one. And then for the side of Team Baguette, I mean, only my condolences, I guess I gotta say to you. No one likes to be on the receiving end of a performance like that. They're not eliminated from this tournament. There's a lot to take away from this game here. But wow, that's tough.
That is tough, and don't count them out completely, of course. Like, they're still here, and also everybody has a bad game. Everybody has 2 bad games sometimes, like apart from me, of course. But yeah, no, like of course, games like these happen, and it's just about how can you come back from a mental game state like this. Of course, as teacher was saying, the tournament life is not over yet, but Nexus is with them advancing to the next stage. So big congratulations to them.
Great, fantastic performance then to advance on in this tournament. And Team Baguette, just go again. Tough one to take there. We're going to throw it back to Des. That's all from myself and Tang TNT Cast signing out. It's back to Blazy and Falcon for the post-series breakdown.
Please stop it. They're already dead. It's just too much, man. I made a white flag for myself. Dude, is this... He's stunned. We had to figure out some way to make it back onto the desk here. Falcon, what did we just witness?
Look, our job here is to break down stuff, Blazy. It's to point out what happened, how teams won. I don't think we need to do that really here, but we're going to do it anyway, and I'm sorry for what's about to happen. So, let's start at the start of the game. We talked about the draft, we talked about how hard it was going to be for Baguette to scale into this game. They never got the chance to scale. It was the case that Tim's invaded as soon as he could with the lanes that he had the strength to do, and then from that point onwards, he got 2 kills onto that enemy Renner. And from that point onwards, it was just a case of, I can go where I want, I can do what I want, and it doesn't actually matter what else happens. Another thing we need to mention, though, is just how long Team Baguette spent around that Fangtooth without actually taking it. If they had gone for that Fangtooth within the first minute, instead of waiting 2-3 minutes to try and gank the duo side, then they might have been able to get it. But instead, it was not that case, and I mean, we'll talk about the rest of the game in a bit, but just the fact that Tim's came in, had a level lead, McCool had a level 7 to a level 5, and just nothing this Zars could do in this game actually mattered. And I mean, we can see what happens. There's nothing really I need to explain here. It's just the Nexar did what they needed to do.
Yeah, Paradise literally pinned against the wall there, and forced to reckon with the game at hand. Truly a rough loss, and Well, I mean, it was a perfect game, right? On the record, 0 deaths, completely flawlessly played. Nexor, they sure did show us a good time. We got one more thing to talk about here, Falcon, and that is, of course, this phenomenal ace.
Yeah, I mean, we get trying to do something, but there's just no damage follow-up whatsoever. Chucking it down, just able to survive for eternity. Rexis, I mean, just trying to survive, just multiple CCs laying upon one another. We got Murdoch not even nearby, and I mean, that's just a kill. It's just an easy ace. There's nothing really like outplayed. It was just, we have higher stats than you, we have more damage than you, we're going to CC you, and we're just going to kill you. It's just, there's nothing really special that happened in the game. It was just, we got the momentum, we have an early game draft, and we're going to use it. And there was nothing Baguette can really do about it from that point onwards.
Yeah, I'm not going to sit here and belay the point, make us keep going back over it. I'm sure Baguette has a lot that they want to talk about in the dressing room, the waiting room, whatever you want to call it, between their next matches. But a massive congratulations to Nexar. They will be moving up into Pinnacle Tier, and we'll be seeing them in another weekend, not this weekend. But for now, folks, we're going to throw you over to a quick break, and when we get back, we'll have game number 3 on the docket. Never mind, we got an interview first. Good for you!
What's up, Predecessor fans? It's Empress Tiramisu, and I'm here with Leader Lepin, the carry for Nexar. Now, we're just going to dive right into it, as you know we do around here. Lepin, it is day 2. Where is the team's mental sitting? Because I have heard, watching the match, surgical. You guys, it was clean. Start, finish. And a lot of people are echoing it. So how, like, where's the team's mental?
Our mental is probably as high up as it can be, because like we were preparing quite well. We focus on our communication a lot better nowadays, and we also had a good amount of time to prepare for our draft. So we went into this set fairly confident, and I think it showed.
Okay, so in hearing that you guys had time to prep and how, like, okay, we're working together, does that mean you guys have a solid read on the current summer meta, or is it just a matter of we prepared for our own game and whatever happens, we just kind of shift and adapt to it?
It's kind of both. Like we have a solid meta read, and knowing the enemies, like we went into it knowing what they play, and knowing that like if there's an OTP, like for example Paradise plays a lot of Aurora, so we just don't give him that and take a lot of confidence out of their team instantly. And also we just draft whatever is comfortable for us. Obviously they don't want to give, for example, they are trying their best to not give Makor his Renner because he's just scary on it, like you don't want to see him. But we're just drafting whatever feels most comfortable.
Okay, y'all heard it here. Nexar does their homework, so you can't be caught slipping. With that, as we wind down right now, going into your next games, whenever they may be, what are you most looking forward to executing
on? We just have to keep our comms as good as they were today. Like keep playing a clean game, don't overplay as much. And if we build a lead, just push out our leads, make the enemies starve out, and just don't let them get back into the game ever.
Oh, okay. Hey, y'all heard it. They're looking to play some clean Predecessor, some of that dangerous Predecessor, if I might say so myself, because nothing's worse than getting choked out of your own jungle or your own lane, period. So with that, we're going to close out. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will catch y'all in the next interview.
Sorry, folks, they told me how much you were desperate to see more of me and Falcon, so I thought we'd come back and let everyone know what's going on with the bracket now. That we've seen two players just by themselves, 2 full teams graduate up into the Pinnacle side of the bracket. We are still waiting on some results from the current round of the EU side of things, so which is why we haven't seen a few of these grayed out matches come in with results. But here are the scores on the doors right now. Hope as well have made their way up into Pinnacle tier as well, so good for them. They definitely put up a great fight against VV earlier on.
Yeah, so we have got 4 teams confirmed into the next period. Zinc also took it again to 2-0 against Zyro earlier on. So we are going to have a little bit left in terms of the last few teams to get through, but either way, we'll have to wait for the feeds for that whilst we wait for those last few games to finish.
We sure will. And in the meantime, folks, if you want to be as dripped out as we are here on the desk, you can grab 2 free Quantum Cores right now by putting !webstore in chat and following the link to sign up, and you can get yourself some free goodies. And, you know, if we're talking about free goodies, Falcon, what is the best way to stay blinged up and show your support for the esports scene and Predecessor?
There's many ways, but the one that actually helps us is to get the Predecessor bundles that are part of the Championship bundles. We've got plenty of different ones in game. Take your pick, take a single skin if you so want it. My personal favorite is the Morn. I think TJ never actually answered your question earlier on.
He dodged me.
So we'll have to get him on that one later on. But any of those proceeds do help the tournaments and also other tournaments as well.
I'll catch him like Paradise against that Fangtooth wall and be like, tell me what your favorite part of the bundle is. We'll get to that. And I think that is all we got for you here on the EU side of things. I do believe that we are heading over to NA after this series, folks. So we'll see you after a short break as we head across the ocean and check in with our North American teams.